Welcome, everyone, back to Waterloo, Wisconsin. This is day 2 of the Trek Cup. Well, we had a fantastic day of racing here yesterday. Great crowds, great weather, and certainly great competitors, and very nice to see the winners that we had in the men's race. A bit of a surprise with Steve Chanel from France getting the better of a very strong field. And then it was Katie Compton, back to the Katie Compton that we've come to know and love. So you get a good look at our venue. Certainly a big thank you to Collectivo. They've been looking after everyone, and their coffee and now their nitro beer coming out there in the venue. So our single speed race just wrapping up. Amateur racing taking place during the morning on this course that we talked a lot about yesterday, but great place to start again today. Temperature, as you can almost see that it's a beautiful day as far as temperature goes, which is rare. It's about getting close to 80 degrees again today. The wind a little bit lighter than what we saw yesterday. The conditions, if it was possible, maybe even a little more pleasurable. But the field won't be more pleasurable, that's for sure, as we're adding into now, as today is our C1 event at the Trek Cup. Yesterday's C2 event saw a few competitors sitting out. We didn't have a few of our Americans. We will be looking for Stephen Hyde and Jeremy Powers, our reigning national champion, 3-time champion Powers, and the top-ranked American on the UCI calendar. But let's focus on the women now, as Katie Compton, as we mentioned, it really did look like vintage Katie out there. Is this season now going to be a very exciting one? If you're a fan of Compton, Ellen Noble, the 20-year-old, was just phenomenal, winning the silver medal, and then the journeywoman, Amanda Miller, looks like she's back and ready for a big season. We're already looking as this year will make its way, going all the way from Rochester. We're just outside of Madison here in Waterloo, Wisconsin right now. They're going to be heading to Vegas, then on to Iowa as we work our way through the season. Really excited at Cleveland this year as well, and wrapping things up in Hartford, Connecticut for USA Cycling's National Cyclocross Championship. One of the best days of racing that you're going to find all year anywhere in the world. So with the women already, that conversation, it starts at the beginning of the year and establishing where you are in your ace competitor group. And Compton, who comes in as the 12-time national champion, one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt, not just American cyclocrossers, but when you look in the big picture of things, Katie Compton really is a legend. So we'll see how the legs respond after a big day out there yesterday. Ellen Noble was closing in at the end of the race. I mean, Compton had established a large enough gap that there was no question. And if she was saving something for today, that would make sense to me, because the field is adding, and that's what we're going to be talking about. 2 riders out of France, as Caroline Mani is taking the start today for the Raleigh Clement team, and then Lucy Chanel, the wife of our winner yesterday in the men's race, Steve Chanel, will be jumping in to our field as well. So as far as the women, that's really the big difference. We look at the big winners out of yesterday, and certainly the 3 I've mentioned, Compton, Noble, and Miller, they all should be walking away very happy. Other riders like Crystal Anthony of the Maxis team had a good ride, but I'm going to throw it down to Tim. Tim, a great day of racing. It looks like you're ready for another one down there.
Yes, good morning, Dave. Yes, everybody here is very excited. I'm at the start area right now. You can feel the excitement in the air. The pros are doing a last bit of the warm-up, making their way to the start area. So it's going to be a great day, Dave.
Well, and it really, as we look at our C1, the level of competition going up today as well, and you could really hear in the crowd or in the expo area, people really anticipating having the reigning world champion jumping into the mix as well, Wout van Aert.
Yes, the field was very good yesterday. It's even greater today with Manny racing at the women's race as well now, the world champion at the men's race, also Jeremy Powers. So I think we'll see even better racing today, and I think we spoke with some of them. I think during the broadcast we'll show some of the pre-recorded interviews as well, and everybody seems very excited about this, and everybody's is on for it.
Yeah, we're being joined by Tim Vanderhoek. Tim has joined the Trek family here, but has worked extensively out on the World Tour and with these athletes. Tim, I had a chance to talk with Sven Ness this morning. He's really excited about what's happening in American cyclocross. Can you touch a little bit on how Trek has gotten involved in such an organic and fun way with this sport? Not only building this course that we're looking at, which is quite a story, a success story in this community here in Waterloo, Wisconsin, but Trek is really looking to grow the sport of cyclocross around the world, but particularly here in North America.
Yes, Trek is very much into this. They're invested in it. I mean, there's no holding back. We did everything we could to make this a wonderful event. And we actually have right here, I don't know if you have this on the screen, but we have the winner of yesterday with us, Dave, Steve Chanel, who on his own basically dismantled the whole Tillanet Fidea team. Steve, how are you feeling today?
Hey, after the race, normally my legs is not the best, but today is another day. Today is a C1 race. Wout van Aert arrived, Jeremy Powers, of course, Tim Merlier. I think the level is highest than yesterday, so if I'm good, if I have got the same feeling of yesterday, why not a podium? It's my objective today. It's a nice weekend to take some to travel my physique for Vegas and Iowa. So, okay, I hope my legs during the race are better than better.
Yeah. Well, you've just done your warm-up. How are the sensations feeling in those couple of laps that you just did?
You know, when you warm up after the race, if you listen all your sensation, that's not good. But the track is very nice. All the people are nice. So I forgot all my sensation. And I go full gas.
And you have a good confidence boost from yesterday.
Yeah,
good luck, Steve, today.
Thank you, and sorry for my bad English. You know,
it's very good.
So, thank you. Bye.
All right. Good luck today. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Tim. What a genuine treat Steve has been. What he did yesterday was absolutely amazing. I hope you had a chance to watch that race. He really went up. It's almost like the movie 300. I mean, going up against the entire Telnet Fidea team, who really brought their A squad here. Guys like Tom Muse and Corne van Kassel. This team was no joke, and he was able to win out of a group of 5. He took it down to 4. They took it down to 3. They repeatedly attacked him. He was able to hang on out of a group of 3 and end up just coming over the line in front of Jim Van Aert. So that was yesterday. And now, obviously, today, everything's different. We talk about Wout Van Aert. We should also really talk about Caroline Mani and the explosive power that she brings to this race. She's the reigning French champion. She's the vice champion or silver medalist from the Worlds last year in Zolder. And certainly such a catalyst in the race. So everything's going to change out there today. Certainly, I would expect Compton to be very wary of going as early, especially after the effort she made yesterday, and even Katie in her post-race comments was clear that she realized that was going to be a long time to be out there alone. But once you committed to it, there was really no looking back, and there was no reason for her to doubt herself either. I think once we found the rhythm of the race yesterday, things did settle out. There were just almost no groups out there at all by the time Compton had shattered the field, and the chase had really shattered itself. You look, I'm going to focus on the women's race. You could see Jeremy Powers actually warming up right behind that interview with Steve Chanel there, as the men right now getting a chance to preview the course. Doing some reconnaissance is a big deal. As this course, they talk so much about how courses will change lap after lap, but you want to get as many looks at speed. There's a lot of chicanes out here. There's some changes today. They've talked about the loading dock and the run-up. You probably saw if you were watching in some of our pre-coverage, and I must say thank you so much to our production crew. Feedback on the job that they've been doing is off the charts. And certainly, in the big picture that Trek is looking at, establishing a quality of coverage for the entire cyclocross season. And there's great guys at Trek like Scott Dobert, Matt Shriver, and John Vick, all working on projects like that. Their commitment to local racing, regional racing, races themselves, and racers has been just top-notch, and it's been so fun to watch all of that connecting happening. Sven Ness was giving clinics to the Trek employees here, small groups in the big picture. I mean, when Sven retired, they had 2 nights of crowds that came out to celebrate his career. 2 nights of 20,000 people each. That's how celebrated Sven Ness is back in his homeland, his hometown of Bâle in Belgium. So he's really connected with the good folks here in Wisconsin, and even bigger picture in America as we really try to grow what's looking to be a month of cyclocross racing that is the level of racing that the Europeans would want to come over and participate in. So we're at a very exciting time, a turning point for the sport. As Sven really did reference, and boy, Joan Hanscom should be proud to hear this, that Worlds in Louisville for him was a turning point in his mind of how he really wanted to dedicate himself to growing cyclocross as a global sport. It's one thing to talk about it, another thing to do it. That's exactly what Sven and John Burke and all the good people are doing. So it's a really exciting time here, and the vibe has just been amazing in all of our amateur racing. You're looking at the purpose-built cyclocross course, really like to say World Cup quality or even World Championship quality. That fly up there was a work of, the fly over, excuse me, was a work of love. This is money warming up. This is what I was talking about. We had our pre-production meetings, and we were discussing what's the difference of having Caroline Money in the field. And boy, you can see just in that warm-up how ferocious she is. So that's Caroline Money, a reigning French champion. Caroline Money actually is very identified with the United States, lives in Colorado Springs for a good portion of the year now, and actually worked as an intern at SRAM in Chicago when she had was just finishing up her university studies in France. She actually had that internship in the marketing department at SRAM. It was really cool to have her here doing that and racing at the same time. So let's take a look a little bit deeper down that start list. Ellen Van Looy, well, very serious. Ellen Van Looy, very professional, very old school Belgian style racing. The Telnet Fidea rider who's here. Katie Antonou, who's our defending champion in the C1 event, so this level event last year. The women do start at 12 o'clock today. The men will be in the grid at 1:15, so we're not that far off from the ladies to begin their staging here. But Katie Antonou comes in as a rider, looking, I think, to better what she did yesterday out there. Amanda Miller, boy, when you start talking about playing with the house's money, well, Miller taking the bronze medal yesterday after riding Ellen Van Looy off her wheel late in the race. That was really the last battle that we were looking at as far as that spot on the podium for bronze, and Ellen Van Looy ending up with the chocolate medal for fourth place. And ultimately, she certainly didn't come here to not stand on the podium for the Telnet Fidea team. They ride on Trek bikes. They're taking this very seriously, as they should. A lot of pride for the racers to be able to show the people who work in the factory, who run payroll, who do human resources or the financing department. It's, there's a significant connection to this specific sport of cyclocross. Yes, Trek loves bikes and everything, but this seems to be the house sport at Trek, which is extremely fun to watch when this event comes together, the Trek Cup. So looking a little further down that list out of Massachusetts, the junior high school teacher, who I think is on sabbatical for another year, as she's continuing to be on the cyclocross circuit, and one of the real animators out there, Crystal Anthony, racing for Maxis Shimano. And a rider that on any given, she's been on the podium here in the past as well. She's done extreme. This is a course that suits the style and talents of Crystal Anthony out of Massachusetts. Crystal comes from a real cycling family there as well. Her brother Jesse has been a pro, a stalwart pro, really on the American circuit for the rally team for many years. Ellen Noble, her star is on the rise. There's really, in American racing right now, there's some incredible things happening. And I want to put Ellen Noble directly into that group of the Skylar Schneiders, who happens to be 18 years old and from right here in Wisconsin, riding for the IS Corp team. There's Chloe Dygert is obviously the rider that you look to in this group of just amazing Americans. And then Emma White, the cyclocross star, who's also a two-time champion silver medalist at the Road Worlds with Chloe Dygert winning. It's a great time to be a fan of American women's racing, especially with the American juniors that we have in the pipeline right now. And you have to put Ellen Noble, to circle back for you, of the Aspire racing team. Her silver medal yesterday, as she is reigning U23 champion, but she will be contesting elite championships, just like a guy like Wout van Aert doesn't race U23, even though he still qualifies to. He hasn't for a couple of years because they are so talented, and they are racing in, rather than the level that they're qualified to race in, they're racing in the highest level in the world and winning. So that's certainly backing it up. So Ellen Noble, another rider to watch today for Aspire. And then the great story of Elle Anderson. So Elle in our field, Elle out of the northeastern part of the country, Vermont. We talk a lot about the courage that Elle has shown going over and racing in Belgium. When this event kicked off 4 years ago, this is the fourth edition of the Trek Cup, running C1s and C2s, as the U.S. Grand Prix of Cyclocross sadly came to an end. There were some strongholds for cyclocross, and Renee Callaway had this relationship with Trek, and they kept their own level, USGP level, even though it wasn't part of a series. They wanted to keep that standard going. And now they look to continue to grow on that as events like Las Vegas have got World Cup, and you see World Cup racing happening at Jingle Cross now. So everybody upping their game around the American cyclocross scene, and it all benefits each other right now. So the other rider to mention as we look at more of, I think it's mostly going to be our pro man, as the ladies will probably be headed to staging. We're just 15 minutes away from start. Yesterday, the start was moved back 5 minutes. We'll see if they're doing something similar to that today. The reason that you're seeing this scheduling change, most American cyclocross fans would think that, the women's race is very early today, as is the men's. The regular schedule for pro racing, just for as long as I can remember, has always been running the women as the penultimate event and the men as the final event. Every now and then you would see that reversed in races that were wanting to put a focus or highlight the women's race, but it turned out to be counterintuitive. One of those many things in life that you think it makes sense. They've been running the schedule this way forever, but in American racing, so many of the spectators are racers themselves. If they've raced hours earlier, they are ready to move on. So here's a rider that really now deserves the main stage. Tim, it sounds like you've got 12-time U.S. champion Katie Compton with you.
I can confirm I have 12-time U.S. champion Katie Compton next to me, Dave. Katie, how are you feeling today?
I'm a little tired today, but I feel like I can still push hard today. We'll see.
You did make it look easy yesterday, I must say.
Yeah, that's good acting. It was still hard. Today will probably be even harder too, and it's always the second day is a little bit tougher. So I'm going to see how I feel, and it's going to be a fast race. It's going to be another warm one, so I'm going to make sure I kind of gauge my efforts. I don't do too much too soon.
Caroline Mani is here today. How much do you think that changes the dynamics of the race?
It'll be a little faster at the front. I know she's always gunning for wins. She's riding well, so and she's a fierce competitor. So it'll be fast, and she'll be at the front going hard, I'm sure.
All right, well, we won't bother you more longer. Good luck today.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. You're not going to find a more relaxed, stoked Katie Compton. And, boy, there's nothing in this sport that I've learned earlier than a happy bike racer is going to be a faster bike racer, and that is clearly a happy Katie Compton that we're looking at right now. Katie actually was a national champion as a U-23 rider racing out of Delaware. As she finishes up school, takes a little bit of a break, becomes a pilot for blind paracyclists, goes and wins world championships, Paralympic golds, and then the story is, at this point now, the story is about 2 decades of content for you. And for people, if you just pick up Katie Compton right now, you hear 12-time national champion, you say, well, it looks like it's easy for her, but it hasn't been. Here's another young lady that it hasn't been easy for. 20-year-old, but reigning national U23 champion. Tim, sounds like you got Ellen Noble with you.
We do. Ellen, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. Yeah, I'm super excited. Just got back from pre-riding the course, and the changes that they made were super fun. And there's a longer run-up, so we'll see how that goes. I think that'll maybe add some separation to the race. But I'm feeling really good, and I'm super excited to see what I can do out there today.
You had an amazing performance yesterday, second place. What can you take away from that, and how can you do even better today, you think?
I'm hoping that I can kind of use what I was able to do yesterday to inspire a good ride again today. Now that I kind of know that I'm able to ride, that strong, it's a huge improvement over last year. So I think now I know I have a good representation of what I can do. So I hope that I can use that today to remind myself that I'm capable of it.
Did you make any changes to your bike? Maybe tire pressure now that the course is a little drier and then faster?
Yeah, I went up 1 PSI in the front. I felt like I was kind of G'ing out on a couple of things, like that little water bar in the course on the second half. I was kind of felt like I was kind of bottoming out. So I went a little bit higher because there are more things to hit rim on, but no really any traction to gain having higher PSI. So otherwise, I'm running toe spikes. I'm running horse engineering toe spikes. So I think those will help me a lot on the run up.
All right, well, good luck today.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dave.
Racing out of Maine, how's an athlete like that not going to help grow the sport? That is Ellen Noble. And boy, that's part of Racing with Aspire Racing, which is the team that Jeremy Powers has put together. They love cyclocross. They take it to a very high level, and they also really seem to connect on just being good people. So good luck out there to Ellen Noble today. And then thank you again, Tim. So Tim is really working through yesterday's podium. If he finds Amanda Miller, he'll have all three. that found the blocks yesterday. Obviously, adding in Mani is going to change things. Ellen Van Looy will be very, very hungry. I can't imagine how she's not going to be charging today as well. And a little bit more of a World Cup feel for Compton and riders like Antoneau as well. So Katie Antoneau comes from Racine, Wisconsin, and is certainly, I saw some literature talking about her being the local star, but you really have to put into perspective that Katie Antoneau, really much like Ellen Noble was. So this is a rider that you'll obviously want to be keeping your eyes on today. Last year's silver medalist at the Worlds and French national champion. Tim, you've got the exciting Caroline Mani with you.
I do. Caroline, how are you feeling today?
I feel good. I'm excited. I hate just sitting and not race, so yesterday was difficult for me to make the choice to just watch the race.
Okay. What did you see yesterday at the race that you can learn from for today?
I saw that Katie is really strong. That's all I can say, and it's good to watch because you don't see everything when you're just racing in the race. So it was good.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Yeah. How's your summer been? I mean, I know that you spend your time in the U.S., so for you there's no jet lag to deal with. I mean, how has your preparation been so far?
Oh, I barely raced. I mean, I did some crit and I did Cascade, the road race, but mostly train and just try to be rested after the big season last year and to get a good season this year.
Okay. Well, good luck today. We won't bother you any longer.
Certainly a 4-star favorite coming into today. When you talk about Caroline Mani, no doubt. Thank you again, Tim. Mani, one of the most exciting racers that we've had in America throughout the history of cyclocross. So the dynamic that she brings will definitely change everything out there today. You know, got to look at Courtney McFadden for a great ride yesterday as well, the rider out of Bellingham, Washington for American Classic. That was an outstanding performance. And I would say sometimes these riders, I'm not going to say it's a surprising ride. It's a step forward, though, as far as, when you look at the quality of the field. And what McFadden did yesterday was very, very strong. I also have to say, at some point, you're going to see Maglia Rochette on the podium. That was her teammate that we were looking at there on the Luna team. So Rochette, the rider racing out of Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the younger American, Hannah Finchamp. Yesterday I talked about Hannah's expertise in Xterra triathlon. But Maglia Rochette is really making herself into what I think is going to be a big star in the sport out of Canada if she decides to really focus on cyclocross. So, and once again, Luna Chicks, if you are a person getting behind women's cycling, supporting it, have to really look back at who was doing this 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And that's, Gary Erickson really believing in the power of women's sport. And this team has been, if you look back to the days of Marla Streb and Allison Dunlap and just all of the great Americans that have ridden for this program, and more than just Americans as well. Katarina Nash is one rider we're really missing at this race from the Luna Pro team. But Katarina, one of the few human beings that's an Olympian in the summer and the winter games, and multiple times at that. And I think she's going to pick up cyclocross, probably going to Cross Vegas. She's out of California. It's a big trip. And as we get a look at our beautiful course that we're racing on, the modifications made for today's C1 will make the course a little bit more challenging out there today for both of our fields. Women racing for 40 minutes. And once again, it looks like staging has begun as we are now inside of 7 minutes to start. So Katie Compton riding, I hope I didn't say Trek Factory Racing. This is now Panache that she is riding for, which is a great brand out of Boulder, Colorado that is really making their mark in the world of cycle clothing and style. They're trendsetters in what they're doing, and getting behind Katie Compton was a great move for that Colorado-based company, supporting that Colorado-based rider on a worldwide campaign. Katie's still riding on Trek bikes, so that's a good part of the story. She has the new Miami Blue bike that she's on out there today, and the bike that she won on yesterday seemed to be working quite well for her. So that is getting a overview of the racing now. The start grid, if you're looking at the middle of the expo area, this is our camera that I've never seen in a cyclocross race, the level of production that these guys are bringing. So excited to see the comments. And that's a scissor jack that has a camera about 20 feet up in the air. As you can see Chris Cradle there talking out of the Shimano Maxxis tent, or Maxxis Shimano. There's his rider right in the middle of your screen. It's one of his riders, I should say, Crystal Anthony, who we highlighted in our pre-show. Ellen Van Looy there, the rider for Telnet Fidea, who has the black skin suit with the yellow and white. Katie Compton there in the stars and stripes. And it looks like Antono, one rider over from her. You can see Cannondale rider Katie Antono there. Cannondale cyclocross world rider Katie Antono, La Petite Blaireau. Certainly a rider to keep your eyes on today. So that's our front row filling in now as we take a look a little deeper. I mentioned that great ride from Courtney McFadden, looking for Elle Anderson. Racing for Elle Anderson Racing, and she'll be stylish in her kit throughout the year. And adding, once again, Lucy Chanel Lefebvre of the cross team by G4. But it sounds like Tim is going to final chance to talk with some of the stars in the next 40 minutes here. Tim, I'll throw it down to you.
Oh, well, I won't talk to one of the riders right now. I think they're a couple minutes away from the start, but we have a great sight over this front line, which is impressive. All the big names are there. Everybody's got their chains on the big chain ring and the big cassette in the back, so ready for a big sprint to the first turn. So the UCI commissaires now are already telling everybody to be ready and set, and they're going to go off very soon, Dave.
Well, all right, thank you, Tim. That is Caroline Mani. Everybody knows how explosive she is. This absolute dynamite out of France right now. Looking a little bit further down, you've got Katie Antono, then Ellen Van Looy. Then it's, as we take a look at where they're going to be racing now, but Amanda Miller there. And Ellen Noble. You can see Rafa, as that's the Aspire racing team, and next to her is Elle Anderson, all the way over at the edge of that grid. So getting back to the other side, once again, working on your screen while we've got them here. From left to right, Crystal Anthony. Nice to see her on the front row. The American champion, 12-time champion, 5 times on the World Championship podium. That is Katie Compton. Then Caroline Mani, Katie Antono, Ellen Van Looy, Amanda Miller, Ellen Noble, and Elle Anderson. That's your front row in order. We are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. This is the Trek Cup, as big-time bike racing is back here in Waterloo, Wisconsin. All right, there's our man Tim. He's safely out of the way. That's it. We're going to have an explosive start here, no doubt. We're racing a perfect look. This is our drone coverage that was so awesome to add in yesterday. And that is a look now. People are going to be scattering out, most of them leaving the grid to get out to the good positions out on course. There's some fantastic sectors. You can see everybody flying over to the edge of the barricades as they realize that, once again, we have chambered a very strong field here for racing in a historic week in the United States of America. So as we add the Trek Cup in now to what is going to be Cross Vegas and then at Jingle Cross, get ready. This is the C1 day. This is the big day. And we're going to find out who brought the sharper sword. Obviously, the camera looking at Mani, rider number 2. Silver medalist at the Worlds. But she's been really the most dynamic is a great word to use to describe her. You could see that in the interview. She has an energy to her. She's ready to jump out of her skin. What other rider's spitting straight ahead, staring into that camera? I mean, she looks like she wants to tear the cranks off of that bike. The calm, collected Katie Antono. They call her La Petite Blaireau for a reason. She is one fierce fighter. As Antono's not ready to back down from anyone in this sport. As she was now on course. Look out. So Mani's warm-up. You can see how she does it differently than anybody else. But Antono getting the better. It looks like Antono's going to take the whole shot. So Katie Antono, but it's Ellen Noble. Courtney McFadden in the green. That's going to be Antono. Next to her in the blue, that's going to be Noble. Trying to move over to the outside is Caroline Mani, and Mani has made that pass. So here we go. It's on like Donkey Kong right now because Caroline Mani is going to turn herself into a human wattage cottage here. Not many riders are going to survive this first lap. You're looking at a OSS situation. Only the strong survive when they go out this hard. One quick look over the shoulder, and Mani can see that she's already doing damage. Ellen Noble, what a fighter. Noble's going to hang in with Mani off of the line. So Antono gets up there. McFadden once again punching above her weight. Elle Anderson a much better start than yesterday. So Elle Anderson slotting in right now, fifth wheel. It's Mani, then Noble, then Antono, As we look a little bit further now, I'm looking to see if we're going to have anybody making the pass. You can see that big gaps. These might not look big, but at this point in the bike race, they're huge, as you've got riders already on the back foot. It didn't take Caroline Mani 1 minute. She lit the fuse, and the bomb is already blown up out here in Waterloo. So I think Caroline Mani might relate to Napoleon a little bit better than some other riders as far as what she's trying to do here, and it is damage. Noble is hanging on, not only keeping her head above water, but she is just swinging with Mani right now. She was able to go with Compton longer than anyone yesterday. Now we're going to look back. Where's Katie Compton? Not known as a good starter. And that's certainly many, many times Katie has had to ride back from as far as 10, 12 wheels. But Caroline Mani is going to try to change the game. They hit the flyover now. Ellen Noble talked about the changes she made, about the spikes that she's using, how well prepared she is mentally for a 20-year-old right now. I mean, she talked about doing homework in the rental car before they came to the venue this morning. So really firing on all cylinders. Going back a little bit farther, that's going to be Rochette that we're looking at for the Luna Pro team. I am sure that I missed Katie in that shot, and that would be on me. We will once again try to identify our top 10 for you as quickly as we can. They're doing a great job getting us that top 10 as they come through on lap number 1. McFadden in the blue and pink. Ellen Van Looy. There's Compton. So Ellen Van Looy, Katie Compton, right there as they hit the loading dock, or as Greg Ferguson calls it, the loathing dock out there. And you can see why that off-camber, brutal run-up. Mani with right next to her, Antonio, and right with them is going to be Noble. And McFadden is there. Then Van Looy. Van Looy is there. The American champion, Compton, right behind Ellen Van Looy. This should be Amanda Miller for Boulder Cyclesport, I believe, that we're looking at. Sonny Gilbert possibly up there today. So Elle Anderson, Magali Rochette, and that's your top 10 as we're seeing it right now out on lap number 1. Thank you for joining us. If you're around the world, and especially to all of our friends in Belgium and Holland, Czech Republic, Northern Europe, it's been great to have you. We've moved the start times here to help to try to accommodate prime time over in Europe, and we appreciate when they look at the numbers to see how many of you are tuning in. And here we go again. This is American-style cyclocross, but with certainly right now a French woman taking the reins here out on lap number 1. Caroline Mani, 2-time French champion in the reigning champions jersey. Ellen Noble, Katie Antonio, Courtney McFadden, Van Looy, Compton. That's the order out there right now. So we're taking a look right now as we have Mani out there, what she is. And you see this when we were talking with her before the race, but Caroline Mani has developed a reputation for a very good reason of doing exactly that. Now, if you go back 2 seasons ago for Mani, the problem would become that she couldn't sustain this all the way to the finish through the entire 40 minutes. She couldn't drive that final nail home. That changed as Mani has matured mentally, physically. She knows what she can do now. Mani doesn't ride out of control, even though it might look like it. I mean, the French rider is the most expressive in the world. And Mani takes it to another level, no question. She wears her heart on her sleeve, if you want to say it that way, but it's great to watch. It makes great sporting theater. So you can see how they fought back now. So Mani has fired the first salvo across the bow. And who survived? Well, Compton might be the last rider to come through who makes the freight train. So the Mani 12 o'clock left the station. If you weren't on it, I don't think you're winning a bike race here today. Noble is still in the conversation. Katie Antonio, the Cannondale rider, in the conversation as well. No surprise there. The rider that you have to look at is saying what a season she's going to have, Courtney McFadden. One of the very popular riders on the circuit, and popularity doesn't get you into the front group, that's for sure. What does is hard work, and obviously this rider out of Washington State has done that work. So Courtney McFadden has now really moved into a new phase in her cyclocross career in the United States. Next up is Europe for her, for sure. That's been a big jump for a lot of riders, tough jump to make, and we'll be watching along and cheering along for Courtney McFadden here from the United States, that's for sure. So going back now, Mani, it seems like on this course there's so little drafting. It's so punishing out here. You're bouncing around. It's really just setting a tempo that you're happy with. So Mani is taking it down to 6. Noble, Antonio, McFadden, expected to see the Belgian Van Looy, And Katie Compton is there as well. So Katie Compton survives that first little melee that was initiated by the woman that's still up on the front out here, looking at Caroline Mani. So the women in this group, they won't be surprised in any way that this first lap played out this way. They would expect to see that here. And it's just nice to know that you can survive something like that. It's one thing to know you're going to get jumped, another thing to be able to get through that period. But, I mean, already, this is how brutal this sport is, how hard this and decisive the first lap is that if a woman not on in this group or on your screen right now, basically, you just have to add Compton, who's just tailed right with Van Looy. There's Compton now. If a woman on your screen doesn't win this bike race, I will be absolutely stunned. If someone could chase back into this group and be there when the next barrage goes down, that would be next level bike racing. So we already, for all intents and purposes, finishing lap number 1 as they hit the parking lot, really. This is the employee parking lot for Trek. Gives you a feel for the scope of what they're doing here in Waterloo as well. This is not a small parking lot by any means. And this is our first look again after lap 1. It's a 7:23 as Antonov now moves herself up onto the front. So Katie Antonov there. That's going to be Noble with her. Mani's not ready to give up. Mani is a pit bull, no question. And as we take a look at this critical section, the Trek run up here that brings you right out of the factory area there. That's a new extension they're adding. If you see the construction over there, a huge addition to the factory that will be finished by the time that we're back here next year. But right now they're about halfway through. So that's going to be an attack from Katie Antonov. Here we go. They call her La Petite Blaireau for a very good reason, honoring, of course, the legendary Bernardino, Le Blaireau. But this is Wisconsin's version, as we've got now Katie Antonov and Ellen Noble, and they are changing the game. Mani trying to get up onto that wheel. The group of 6 has been split as... Oh, she looks so comfortable right now. Just, I mean, obviously a huge effort that you're looking at. I mean, Katie Antonov is like a cocktail napkin with an outboard motor strap to it right now on the front of this bike race. Ellen Noble looks like the only rider that's really comfortably hanging on. Mani's fighting back. It's 3 back to Compton then. So Compton is the rider caught in no woman's land right behind this group, but in front of that group forming behind them. Mani, body blow after body blow from Caroline Mani. You really can't put her on the ropes as she moves into second wheel now, just slotting in ahead of Ellen Noble. Noble is back on another great day. So if you were to add the last 2 days together, at this point, Ellen Noble would be your winner. She's made such a mark, such a stride forward for the U23 champion. Compton is going to get back into this group, so she's going to, looks like, survive another one. Katie Compton and Katie Antonov have had a very strong relationship. When Katie Antonov was a junior rider, she would be coached by Katie Compton, who would work for the Carmichael Training Systems. And at this point, I don't think that Katie's still coaching Katie, but she might be. But now you can see this is a group of 4. So Compton, you're not going to put Katie Compton on ice. It looks like this is the vintage Compton. So Compton's going to survive to the middle part of the bike race. It looks like to be there for what will be the finale of this race, which is shaping up to be decidedly different than yesterday now, isn't it? Yesterday, we watched Katie Compton start riding away from the race at this point. So the panache Trek rider decided to go for it and see where the chips may fall. And this time it was Mani and then Antonov. If we look at who's been animating and dictating this bike race, Mani back to the front. This is going to be an interesting run up here, as this suits Mani. She's very good in these punchy type of run ups, but as I say that, she stumbles just a little bit of a slip. It's been wet here. It's certainly not even anything close to muddy, but it's not completely dry. So as we take a look at Katie Antonov, they're right in the middle of our screen. Sounds like Tim is going to have a chance to talk with the Cannondale mechanic. I'll throw it down to you, Tim.
Yes, Dave. We're here with Sue Thorne from Katie Antonov's team.
There's no audio.
Katie Compton's performance of yesterday, it looks like the key word here is anticipation. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, today's just a different day. I think C1 race today, and also we've got Manny's out in the group as well. So, and Compton's always going to be a threat. So we'll just keep tight and see what happens in the next few laps.
We saw Katie throwing out some attacks there already, so she must be feeling good.
Yeah, yesterday she wasn't 100%, just wasn't into it, and we were trying a few different things on the bike, so it was a bit more of a warm-up, and today hopefully she can come around being a C1, it'll be a bigger deal for sure.
Yeah, it's certainly looking good. Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's Stu Thorne, who we spoke with yesterday as well, another one of the cornerstones of the American cyclocross scene, who's worked with riders like Tim Johnson, Ryan Trebone. If Ryan is watching out there, I hope your retirement and working into the first few weeks is going well. A lot of love for Ryan Trebone as he says goodbye to professional cyclocross racing. But back to his former teammate, Katie Antonow. There, that's going to be Ellen Noble. Katie Compton sitting on the wheel of Caroline Mani. And look who's back. Courtney McFadden. There, the GE American Classic riders gotten back up into that group. Oh, bit of a slip. So, boy, positioning's always going to matter. Ellen Van Looy will use her highly honed skills here, it looks like, to get back in. We might have 6 back together here on the front. As Ellen Noble, boy, told her tough week to start off the season. Talked with Jeremy Powers, who owns the Aspire Racing team. He really said we just want to keep her head up and keep her happy and keep her moving forward. Boy, has she done that in a huge way. Antonow, we saw have that little bobble. She can handle that kind of stuff. Katie Antonow, very strong mentally, maybe one of the strongest mental riders, riders mentally that we've seen in American Cross. She's been a part of that 2016 Ride Biker program in her career and has been racing very actively since being a young junior out of Racine, Wisconsin. She's probably had more race starts than she's at that. She was a colleague of Corinne Rivera's in her career. Just another one of the young, talented Americans who's moving into the middle part of their career. As I believe Katie's just about to get married as well. As we take a look at the Marion product, great place to go to school. You want to race your bike, as a professional. That's a professional field, professional break that you're looking at right now. So that's a great shot. It is Wisconsin. It is harvest season, and a lot of the race course it goes over former cornfields. You saw a good example of that just a moment ago. This is all the backyard of Trek. If you're just joining us, thank you. We're out on lap number 2. There's the woman who really exploded this race, Caroline Mani. You have to say Noble and then Antonow. Really Antonow and then Noble, I guess, if you want to give them credit for who's trying to make the race right now. Rather than follow wheels, just absolutely making the race is what Mani, Antonow, and Noble is starting to participate in that as well. The established stars of the sport. And coming into today, Caroline Mani is ranked number 2 in the world. Katie Compton ranked number 6. Ellen Van Looy number 7. And Katie Antonow number 10. That's based on their current UCI ranking. A silver medalist at the World Championship is something that has been done by 3 riders in this group have been on the podium in the World Championships as an elite rider. That's something that would be certainly in Ellen Noble's field. Boy, does Noble look comfortable there, hand in the air. I think the tempo certainly not enough. A bit of a false tempo now from Mani. We've gone from Mani trying to just rip this race from limb to limb to racing tactically, and that was the difference. Is Mani in the past, I don't think really had an off switch. She didn't have a toggle switch. She was either on or off, and now she seems to have a toggle out there and is able to back it off a little bit when she needs to and rebuild and get ready for what we're going to be moving into. The final phases of this race pretty quickly out here. And we're still in the first third right now. These are the women that have survived. I mean, Courtney would have to look around and just say, this was the group that you dream of being with as you make your way up the cross ranks. When you see Ellen Van Looy now to the front, experience will start to shine here, and depth will start to shine, as that's Van Looy in the black for the Telnet Fidea team. It looks like different riders are using different tactics here, and that's interesting. Mani and Antonow taking a different route through that sector of the course than the other ladies are in this group. Decidedly different than what Ellen Van Looy is doing. And look at this. Does that help her charge up and go? And there it is. So Ellen Van Looy right now getting put behind the 8 ball here because Noble's going to go with this move again. So very smart racing from Caroline Mani, you could see that she was the one rider that decided to take a different route up that sector and uses that to her advantage as a springboard there to attack, and now Ellen Noble goes with her. So Ellen Noble with Mani, Van Looy, and then McFadden. That's the thing. You're just Caroline Mani is going to wear people out here. It's not just, it's mental, it's physical, it's the full, complete package that Mani is. Really, now you have to say she's one of the best cyclocross racers in the world, consistent. And you look at the fact that she didn't race yesterday, so she comes in obviously a little bit fresher, using that to her advantage in the first part of the race, maybe trying to take advantage of the women who raced hard in the C2 yesterday and to catch them out just a little bit here, maybe some heavy legs in the early going. And, I mean, at this point now, you can see riders starting to get tailed out of this group. As let's run through the order for you quickly as they're out on lap number 3. Caroline Mani for the Raleigh Clement team. This is a team run by Don Kellogg, who's another person that put his heart and soul into cyclocross, a true blue cyclocross supporter. He's been running Raleigh Clement for a long time. Acceleration from Mani. Responding is Noble. Well, you just can't shake Ellen Noble out here today. So smart, so attentive, so aware. For 20 years old, this is just incredibly encouraging to see. Van Looy, Compton, Antono, McFadden. That's your order right now of the front group as we got them out on lap number 3. A little bit of another chicane for them. You can see how the professional women handle that in such a different way than what you see in the other categories. The skills are at such a high level in this front group that we're looking at right now, with Caroline Mani taking them through a tricky sector here. But the course is the condition's so good right now. But Mani, Noble, Van Looy, Compton. Now you see Antono and McFadden as they hit. This is the loading dock section of the course where you see a lot of carbon fiber goes in and out of that loading dock. And it's nice to see. Thanks, Ryan Trapone chiming in. Of course, he's out there watching as the multi-time American champion chimes in, cheering on the Katies. Makes sense. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. Means a lot. So as they're out on lap number 3, we're going to be, if the camera take, this is what it's all about here at this venue. So as we look at this crowd moving around, enjoying their lakefront beer as they get to cheer on our front group right now. Mani, Compton moving up. You can see this now. That should have the alarm bells ringing, and you can see why, as there can be Van Looy and McFadden now getting punched out of that group here for a moment. All right, so Mani doing some more damage here. Antono moving up into the group. She's the rider in green, 4th rider in line or almost in line, as Caroline Mani is now on the grind out here, taking riders out of that group. That's Van Looy in the yellow and black. And then McFadden might have to, she's going to need to redouble her effort out here. This is what big-time cyclocross is all about. This is what high-level punching is about in the sport of cross. You've got to be able to hang in there when they're throwing these blows at you. And McFadden is definitely coming up, making big strides forward. For West Coast American cyclocross, you look at riders like Courtney McFadden flying that flag. Let's see what we're going to have now, because that's McFadden who won't give up. Let's watch how she does here. This is going to be a big test now for Courtney McFadden. Courtney's been racing at this level for a few years, but she hasn't been making these World Cup type selections. As now, here we go. Oi, 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 as they say. This is Katie Compton to the front, timing this one a little differently, showing a little patience after her big win yesterday in the C2. The American champion is on the attack. Mani going to try to cover. Noble behind her. Antono, then Van Looy, and then the speedy Courtney McFadden coming through here as well. So she's not throwing in the towel here, but this is it. This is a power move, as we're going to go deep into the pain cave with this one now for this entire front group. This is where Katie Compton lives. This is the Katie Compton that American cyclocross knows and loves. As Compton now midpoint of this race. We started them exactly at 12. We're hitting just now 12:19. So on the clock now, they'll have a definitive number of laps that they'll be seeing, and we'll pick that up for you on their way through. But this is Katie Compton now taking out the 20-pound sledgehammer and is just wailing away. All right, this is what this is. When they ask, what is a human wattage? You are looking at it right now. So we're going to go ahead, and as we've got Katie Compton on the attack, let's go ahead and throw it down to Tim.
Yes, Dave, thank you. I've got Sven Nys here with me, legend of the sport, of course. Sven, 2 minutes ago, was saying Katie Compton is not hurting right now. So Money was putting on the pressure, but you could see Katie was doing fine. What's happening right now? Can you describe it a little bit?
Yeah, she made an attack, and that's what I should do also. She waited 3 laps. She watched the other riders, how they were, and now she tried to make a gap between her and the rest of the bunch. And I think it's possible. There is not so many wind like yesterday, but okay, she raced yesterday. The French champion didn't race. Maybe that can bring the group again together when when she closed the gap. But I think the pace, the level of the race is higher than yesterday. There were a lot of riders. The top 5, top 6 are good riders.
Tell me about Ellen van Looy from your Telenet Fidea team. She was in that group of 6, and now she's struggling a little bit more.
Yeah, she's in the group of 6. That's a good level. She recovered well from the race yesterday, but I think for the podium it's going to be hard today. You see that 3-4 riders are better than her, and on the technical skills she has a lot of problems. So we need to talk about that afterwards. She can ride where she now is running, and that costs her a lot of energy.
All right, thank you very much, Sven. Good luck.
Great having Sven Nys with us. He obviously the greatest of all time, and he's been playing a big role in course design, building this team as we look at who he was talking about just a moment ago, Ellen van Looy. So as Ellen van Looy comes in, she's got some work to do here because this race just moved into another gear. We're going to, as we watch this next lap, we're going to find out what kind of heart these ladies have, who really wants it more or not. So only one's going to be licking her plate clean in this C1 race. I believe we're looking at the chase of, let's actually grab a word with Katie Compton. We were able to talk to her before the race, and here she is, Katie Compton.
A little tired today, but I think I've got something in my legs, still a little more juice left. So hopefully today will be another good day, and I can ride fast and strong and smooth.
Do you expect a different race today?
Probably, yeah, because I think, C1's always a little bit different because you never know, how much people are saving from the C2 for the C1. So, and then Caroline Money is racing now too, so it'll be a little bit different, but I'm just going to try to get a good start and be in the front and then kind of see how it unfolds.
You going to hammer it down in lap 2 already too?
I don't want to, but I'm going to wait and see, and if I attack and early, it's early, but I'd like to wait a little bit today.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, there she is. Here she is, Katie Compton, moving to the Panache Trek program for this year, and that's really exciting for Katie as they're running that team out of Colorado. There is the champion. Let's take a look now. So this really is, when you look at it, and this is what I said yesterday, and I certainly didn't see anyone arguing. And in talking with the elite men, when you sit down with them and ask them, they don't seem to argue either. The greatest American cross racer of all time, 2-time World Cup overall winner, 5 times on the podium at the World Championship, 12 consecutive and reigning elite national champion. That's quite a race resume. Let's go ahead and I think it's going to be Don Kellogg. It's someone from the Raleigh Clement team that Tim's got with him. Tim, I'll throw it down to you.
We have somebody of Caroline Manny's team here.
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
How do you think the
race
race is going?
Pretty
good. Caroline's also trying to.
All right, that was actually Gary Wolf that we were talking to there. Gary Wolf, an Englishman that has been a long-time journeyman mechanic on the American scene. So let's see if we can grab a word with Gary in a bit. That's going to be Katie Compton, Caroline Mani, Katie Antoneau, Ellen Noble, Ellen van Looy, Courtney McFadden, Amanda Miller there, podium yesterday. Let's see how the rider in 7th will fight back. As we look at Compton down in the loading dock, Crystal Anthony in 8th, and Elle Anderson where she was last at this time in the race yesterday, sitting in the top 10. So, all right, you can see how this is really split up. That's Compton. methodically working through this sector of the course. Mani behind her. Antonov comes flying into that sector, but now already back and up to speed, throwing watts at it. That's Katie Compton. So the panache Trek rider Compton with Mani of Raleigh Clement behind her. Raleigh, another American bike brand, now located up in the Seattle, Washington area. Clement, great tires. Antonov for Cannondale. Then we've got Ellen Noble riding on her Focus there for the Aspire team, which was supported by Rafa. And then Telenet Fideo, the Lions out of Belgium. And that is Belgian rider Ellen Van Looy. All right, we should see Courtney McFadden, I would imagine. She's the last rider surviving out of what was that group of 6 that made the selection earlier in the race. But now we pick up, coming up on the top part of your screen, that's going to be Katie Compton there. And there, just as on cue, is Courtney McFadden. You can see the gap as she goes underneath the flyover now that Katie Compton has opened up. This is one lap of Compton doing damage now to that group. So the Katie Compton, we said she was back to the Katie Compton that we had come to know and love, and she's reiterating that point here right now out on lap 4 for our elite women. So Compton has about 15 minutes now. She's been in the bank. She's got the money, and now she's in the getaway car. So let me go ahead and we'll grab another word here with Gary Wolf down there with the Raleigh Clement team. Tim?
Yeah, we'll try that again, Dave. Gary, how's it going so far? She really put the hammer down in the first couple of laps, Caroline, I mean. But now the game has changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think she was trying to split the field a little bit. Now Katie's about 5 seconds up. Hopefully she can just bridge the gap up to Katie, as she did have a rest day yesterday, so she should be feeling pretty strong, I hope.
Was that the strategy? Caroline rested yesterday, so put the hurt on from the first laps and see what happens?
Well, yeah, and we got several World Cups and races coming up in a very short period of time, so we didn't feel like it was worth the racing yesterday. We were trying to stay sharp for the big point races in the World Cups.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Caroline is the only one on canny brakes today. Is that an advantage, you think?
I don't know if it's an advantage, but that's what she prefers right now, so yeah.
All right. Well, good. Good luck today.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So, well, it looks like now Antonov moving in front of the woman we were just talking about, Caroline Mani. You're going to explode the bike race. We're going to have to be able to do something in the second half of the race as well, and that was the difference for Mani over the last really season and a half. She raced with a broken wrist here a couple of years ago. Those were the issues for her, I think, was really just keeping her bones together as she was so aggressive, taking such a pounding on the rougher courses, especially in the first part of the American season. You don't have as much moisture in the air or the ground, and the racing does, by the time you get to the great racing that goes on in Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Louisville that make up the middle part, very strong middle part of the season that happens in Ohio, really conditions change quite a bit. But out here, this round is rough. This course is punishing, no question. There's a great video that VeloNews put up, and thank you to GCN and VeloNews for doing that, getting a camera on Sven Ness and looking at this course. And you see at speed, really what these races are facing. That's Courtney McFadden going one direction as we pick up Katie Antonov and Caroline Mani going the other direction here. That's second and third out on course right now. Up out of the saddle is Antonov. So this really now, the usual suspects are where you would expect them to be if you've been an American cyclocross fan over the last. It's interesting, if you look back over 10 years and just missed last year, this is just absolutely normal. But now it's after last year, seeing Katie back in the early part of the season, so strong, it's a little bit different than what we saw last year, but it is the Katie Compton, the vintage Compton that we know so well. Antonov, the Mani, that's who we're looking at here now. That will be Amanda Miller, Boulder Cyclesport rider, going across with the screen one direction, and with Elle Anderson, I think, moving up out there, the rider out of Vermont. But our camera doing just a great job. We're seeing a lot on the internet about the quality of the camera work and producing here. Just really appreciate the great work that these guys are doing. We certainly are seeing a new standard here. And thank you to Trek for helping make this happen. Thank you to Collectivo Coffee as well for keeping everybody really energized out there as we look at them hitting the parking lot sector of this course. This takes them right into the finish line now. We'll try to pick up how many laps of racing they have. We're going to throw it now to, as we see Caroline Mani on your screen. Let's grab a word with Caroline from before the race, see what was in her mind.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I didn't race yesterday, and I'm ready to just go for it today.
Did you see the race yesterday? Did you see Katie taking a very convincing win? And how do you think you can tackle her today?
Yeah, I did see it. She was pretty impressive for sure. I know, I mean, she lived in Colorado Springs, and I've been seeing her and following her. She's really ready, and we're going to see. I mean, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen racing with her today.
Now, you live full-time in the U.S. Tell me about the scene of cyclocross right here, and how important is it that it's continuously growing?
Yeah, I think the scene is just really growing. I know, I mean, in Europe, that's the sport. That's in Belgium, that's a national sport. And here we're doing a really good job. I think the promoter, the organization are really trying to pushing hard. And then it's really good that we have live at the race. I think it's helping to grow the sport. And it's pretty cool.
Now, Steve Chanel was a very convincing winner with the men elite yesterday. How can you make it a 2-for-2 for France today?
I guess I just have to win. I mean, he can win again, but that was a pretty impressive ride for sure. It was with all these Belgium guys from Fidea, and get the win with all those people, that was good.
Good luck. Bonne chance.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Waterloo, Wisconsin, sitting right in between Milwaukee and Madison, as we look at Caroline Mani, who we just had a chance to grab a word with of the Raleigh Clemente team. So seeing on the fifth lap, they saw 2 to go. As there's your race leader right now. Now, what's going on here? Yeah, mechanical right now, broken chain. So broken chain for Katie Compton. How long is this run? She should be close to the pit here. Now, that's going to be absolutely, very interesting. It looks like she's held on to the lead here. But due to the great work of our cameraman and the big advantage that Compton had, that broken chain is now fixed. She went all the way back to McFadden. Oh, boy. Big changes here in Waterloo. So Katie Compton was riding the front, clearly had a drivetrain issue, broken chain, as she was all the way on the front, now back. So from that front group, let's reset everything for you here. So dynamic moment. Compton goes back to behind Courtney McFadden, who would be 5th on course now. So that as we were in that interview with Caroline Mani, what happened was this moment occurred. The broken drivetrain. And that's going to be a big, big problem now, because this is our leader. Caroline Mani, as if on cue, has taken back over the race. It's Antonio in second. So Caroline Mani taking advantage of a tough situation there for Katie Compton. Hey, that's cross racing. So much of the sport, you're reliant upon your equipment. And in that case, there's a lot of reasons why you can break a chain that have nothing to do with the quality of the equipment. It's how many wattage you're putting down, what gear you are in, all kinds of things can happen there. But, you hate to say it, but one of the old adages in the sport is that's racing. And right now, Katie Compton's got to fight back. You can see Noble just coming through on your screen in the blue. Then Ellen Van Looy. Also now Van Looy of the Telnet Fidea team. It should be Compton charging. But the problem is you load up your legs when you're running that far with the bike. It's not like she gets back on the bike and is fresh. She's going to be really, really in the pain cave there after having to run for what was a significant portion of the course. So we don't know exactly where she broke her chain. But, Tim, I'm going to throw it down to you. Obviously, an incredibly exciting lap going on, but desperate times for Katie Compton.
Yes, Dave. There's a lot happening here. There's some nervosity in the pits, as nobody here really seen what point Katie broke her chain, but she came into the pits running, and Caroline Mani is in the lead now. But a lot happening here. The race is upside down, I would say, and anything can happen today.
Well, thank you, Tim. Upside down is certainly a great way to put it, as this is not a surprise. You're looking at the silver medalist from the World Championship, and right now coming into this event, the top-ranked rider, number 2 rider in the world coming in. So this isn't a surprise. But we're going back right now and looking at some of the earlier racing here, as this was when Mani was starting to take control of this race. So this is not live action. We're looking at Mani a little bit earlier, trying to give you a feel for what was happening, as Katie Compton must have really been feeling the alarm bells or hearing the alarm bells ringing as she deals with that mechanical. Now, we're back to live coverage now as we pick up Mani on the front here, late in the race. The penultimate lap underway. So the dramatic events here occurring in the last 5 minutes. Compton with the mechanical. Mani moves not only on the front. There's the man we talked to earlier, Gary Wolf, cheering Caroline Mani on. And let's see now who's even behind her. It should be, well, Ellen Noble and Katie Antoneau have been the two riders that certainly look like they're going to be filling in the other spots on the podium. It's Antoneau coming through second wheel now. So Cannondale, rider Antoneau, second wheel. This is going to be Mani on the front. So the French champion, two-time French champion in her career, talked about her not racing in the C2 yesterday, coming in a little fresher. The reasons why have been, that is where you see the moment happens. So it must have broken on the hill. It certainly makes sense. And that, you see exactly where it was. What great job by our team getting that for you. So you were looking once again at a replay of Katie Compton earlier. That was not a second mechanical for Compton. That was her original mechanical on the hill, and then the run she had to the pit where she's able to get a new bike. She now is, this is live coverage that we're looking at again, and that's going to be Caroline Mani on the front. The gap has established itself over Katie Antoneau. That's lapped traffic. That is a lapped rider that she's working through now. Surprised that they haven't cleared out that kind of traffic on it. Well, you know what? This is a tough course out there. And when you go bad, you go bad. When you go good, you go nuclear. And that's what you're looking at right now. This is quite a ride from Caroline Mani. Tough break there for Katie Compton. Now, for Compton, you can look at this in two different ways. Obviously, devastating to fall off of the podium right now. Let's see if she fights her way back on. The good news is she's so strong she's breaking chains out there. And she was on the front of the bike race. She wasn't chasing. She was on the front of the bike race when that mechanical occurred. So, yeah, that's tough luck, but it's also encouraging signs, as this is going to be one lap of racing remaining. Let's listen to Brian at the finish line. Mani, it's funny, the more expressive she gets, actually, the better she's feeling in a lot of ways. As Caroline Mani there with the French champion's jersey on. And it's going to take quite a bit to bring this young lady back. Second ranked rider in the world, second at the World Championships last year. You see a rainbow jersey in her future. And that would be great for American cycling and French cycling, because Caroline spent so much time in the United States. We'd see that jersey racing here quite a bit during the year. This speaks to the man who runs this program. Don Kellogg must be ecstatic to see this ride and the way the career's worked out for Caroline Mani. Caroline, a very emotional, in a good way, emotional rider. We talked earlier in the race with that interview with Caroline Mani about how much heart she races with. So we right now look at Mani off of the front. The gap is large enough now that you start to wonder about established positions out here. Through the chicane is Mani. We're going to be looking for that battle for silver out there to be shaping up, where you have Ellen Noble along with Katie Antoneau there. They're not quite of the same class, or class as far as ability. That's a different story, but a little bit younger now. It seems like a few years ago that Katie Antoneau was the 20-year-old rider in a field like this. Now it's Ellen Noble as Antoneau, just a little bit older than that. Age isn't the thing in cyclocross as much as heart is, and you're looking at a lady who has got a huge heart, as that is that is Mani that we're looking at right now. Caroline Mani does not look like she's slowing down. Is really digging in here out on the final lap. You get a look at those gaps, 13 seconds back to Antoneau, and then it's 11 seconds from Antoneau back to Ellen Noble. Fourth place there is Ellen van Looy, the Belgian Ellen, as Katie said yesterday. Katie Compton fifth now, so she obviously gets around McFadden there. But you can see the gap is 1 minute, 3 seconds from Caroline Mani back to Katie Compton here. So it doesn't look like Mani would be giving that back on a day like today, especially coming in with the fresher legs that she has. That's going to be Antonov. Second place out there right now for Katie. This shot here, good look at the pastoral farmlands. Sun, once again, 78 degrees. Just a gorgeous day to be out here spectating or racing in Waterloo. Waterloo, located, the Trek factory, which you're seeing the loading dock of right now, located just outside of Madison, a little closer to Madison than Milwaukee, but Milwaukee, a larger airport that teams like the Telnet Fidea team will be using to fly in and out when they come and do the Trek Cup over the years, and more Europeans will be using that Milwaukee airport, I'm sure. The style, that's what you get. Katie Antonov, one of the most accomplished skill level cyclocross racers out there with the tremendous amount of experience she has. She's been representing the United States at the Elite World Championships going back to 2011. I believe she was 19 years old that year. There's Ellen Noble that we're looking at now, rider out of Maine. She's been a junior champion. She's also then gone on to become our reigning U23 champion. Is the maturity level that you're seeing Ellen Noble showing here is noteworthy, and that is Ellen van Looy sitting in fourth place. Looks like Rad is really accepting the position that they're in out on course right now, except for what is going on here? We've seen another change. Ooh la la. This is going to be Katie Antonov moving in front of Caroline Mani. Mani, either with a mechanical or a biomechanical. The bike looks to be okay. There's air in the tires, but Katie Antonov has moved into the front. Okay, out on the final lap. Boy, it's not over till it's over in this sport, is it? Katie Antonov. Now, so the French rider we're looking at in the middle of our screen, but I believe that is the front of the bike race. Now, this is coming out of nowhere on us, off camera there. It looks like something must have happened, but that is your leader. I want to confirm this, as I'm calling this without being out there in the air to see it, but I think that is what has happened. Antonov, who was our C1 winner here last year, looks like she has moved up into the front. So Katie Antonov is our leader. So the Cannondale Cyclocross World, we talked with Stu Thorne, and this is certainly a huge, huge lap now for Katie Antonov. So just as we're talking about how talented she was as a 19, 20-year-old, don't forget that La Petite Blaireau is a fierce competitor, and now she has taken over the lead of this race. How awesome is it for Katie Antonov? She's only going to lead the race for about 3/4 of a lap, but it certainly would be the right 3/4 of a lap to be on the front out here. That gap is not small at all. There's Mani into the silver medal position right now. So okay, Mani now chasing Antonov, and she's got to worry more about Ellen Noble than she really, I would think, be likely to catch our front runner, the vanguard of this race, Antonov. So really now it's holding on to silver here for Mani. You talk about these huge efforts that she makes in the first part of the race. I thought she looked really good just a few minutes ago. Now, you do wonder. Obviously, we've talked about this being a punishing course. She does look like she's going into the pit. So you can see the handlebars are completely jacked up. Something happened to the bike. Clearly, a crash had to have occurred. Oh, and almost another one as Ellen Noble goes by. Okay. So clearly, Mani with the crash, the handlebars are all over the place. This is going to be Ellen Noble moving into second now. And Noble is flogging herself, where Mani is really just trying to come good again. Incredible turn of events here late in our C1 event. There's your defending champion. She has been really part of the vanguard of American women's cyclocross racing. She's done a lot on the road as well, but Katie Antonov certainly is a worthy winner of our C1 day here at the Trek Cup. So this is quite the turn of events, as I was just saying. I don't think I saw this one coming. You go back through the Compton's mechanical. That leads you into looking at a very strong and composed Mani. Then all of a sudden, Mani with the crash, and it is going to be Antonov who survives through that barrage that this field faced here over that last lap. This course is no joke. There's no doubt that what you're looking at is a challenging course physically, mentally, and for your equipment. And we saw that out there. So this is Katie Antonov now moving into this power section, the back third of the course is the least technical here. She's now onto the tarmac, and she will have done it. Katie Antonov, your Trek Cup champion here on our C1 day. The biggest day of racing in Wisconsin belongs to a Wisconsinite out of Racine. That is Katie Antonov of the Cannondale CyclocrossWorld.com team. Wow, home state winner in a world-class race. So we now see Ellen Noble silver for 2 days in a row. So doing it on a C2 day is one thing. Doing it on a C1 day is another. Next up, World Cup, Ellen Noble for Aspire Racing. And that is Mani. Tough break. She wasn't the only lady who had a tough break out there today. It's both Compton and Mani having mechanicals that took them out of the race lead. For Mani, it didn't look quite as severe time-wise as it was for Katie Compton, the American champion. Stu Thorne there. Stu, such a competent force in the sport of cycling. Katie's going to take a quick break here, and you can hardly blame her. As you can see, your winner there in the middle of our screen. Once again, home state winner. A lot of pride here in Wisconsin, and certainly that's one of the things that Trek has been used to their advantage, is this great workforce that they find here in this state. And Katie Compton coming through now. Katie can wave. Katie can be very happy because she knows where her form is at. And that is a great takeaway for her. Not the result that she wanted, but if you look at it, with the win yesterday, and I believe that was a fifth today for Compton. I might have missed a rider coming through. I might not have, but a top 5 at the worst. There's our winner. As we take a look at an overhead shot of our finish line. Now the crowd will start making their way back for the women's podium presentation here. Ellen Noble, a silver medal again. All right. It sounds like Tim has a chance already to grab a word with our winner, Katie Antonov. Tim, we'll throw it down to you.
Yes, Dave. I got her right here. Congratulations, Katie. How are you feeling now?
I'm happy. Today was a lesson to never give up, just because you never know what can happen out there, and I'm happy to be able to win in front of my friends and family in my home state of Wisconsin. Yeah.
Did you see what happened? I mean, we saw Mani coming through, and you were pushing hard, fighting for second, and then all of a sudden, what happened? We didn't see it.
I didn't see exactly what happened because she had a big enough gap on me that I didn't see, but I think she crashed and just had a bit of a mechanical with her cockpit area. Yeah.
And then what did you think? All in? Did you have something left in the tank?
I was already going all in, but I just tried really hard to keep pushing and not look behind me and get to the line as quick as possible.
All right. What does this teach you for the next couple of races? Vegas, Iowa? Very confident, right?
Yeah, a lot with confidence and just to keep fighting no matter what.
All right. Congratulations. Enjoy this.
That's something we could all learn from there. Absolutely. And it's not over till it's over, is it, Katie? As it speaks that she wasn't even able to see the crash that Mani had before she was able to take over the race lead there on the last lap. That's Katie Antonov that you expect to see, to tell you the truth. That kid never has given up in her career. So Katie Antonov takes the win. A lot of pride. She'll have a lot of family with her here as well. So that's nice to see a home state kid getting the win, or home state young woman getting the win here in Wisconsin. That's our drone coverage that has been a great addition to the U.S. cyclocross scene. You can see, actually, that's where Tim has been hanging out most of the time, our SRAM pit. Thank you to Jose and the SRAM NRS crew there. So great to work with, brings so much quality to the events, and I know the riders love having the SRAM NRS guys with them. So sounds like Tim has a chance to grab a word with our silver medalist, back-to-back silvers for Ellen Noble. Tim, I'll throw it down to you.
Back-to-back silver for Ellen Noble indeed. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I'm super, super excited. I was actually a little worried having a really good day yesterday, a good day for me. I was worried that I was going to be a little tired today, but I felt super good, and I'm really, really excited.
Talk us through the first couple of laps when the six of you were feeling each other, and then it was everybody cards on the table.
Yeah, for the first couple of laps we were all together, but I was really trying to hold the second wheel because that's a good place for me. Being a stronger technical rider than power, I like to be second, so I'm not getting a lot of residual braking. So I wasn't sure how many women were with us, but we all bunched up on the road right before Katie made her big attack. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's still a lot of us. And then, Katie went, and it really started to splinter. We shifted positions a bit, but, after about half the lap, it seemed like it was pretty determined. But, I just tried to keep the pressure on and keep doing what I was doing and really keep going. And I'm very, very happy that I did because, I guess bad things do happen sometimes and bad luck strikes. So I just tried to ride consistently, and I'm so happy to end up in second today.
It was a very eventful race. How do you deal with that as an athlete, with that constant new information that coming to you?
I just try to roll with the punches. That's the best thing you can do. I think racing, mountain, road, and cyclocross, all of those are so volatile and anything can happen at any time. So I just tried to understand that things were changing and not get freaked out by it.
All right, congrats and good luck with the next couple of races.
Thank you.
Well, I have to agree, Tim, that it'd be nice to give her some good luck because she's obviously got the form. Let's take a look at our results here on our C1 day of racing at the Trek Cup here in Waterloo. Katie Antoneau getting the win, home state win. Ellen Noble for silver, Caroline Mani, some tough luck, but holds on to a spot on the podium. Ellen Van Looy fourth again here today. Katie Compton also tough luck, but good news for Katie is the form is fantastic. Let's note the rides from Courtney McFadden. She finishes in sixth here as out of Washington State. That's one heck of a performance from Courtney McFadden. Crystal Anthony there in seventh. Sonny Gilbert moving up a little bit today into eighth. And Elle Anderson finds the top 10 once again here for our elite women. Boy, take a look at that group and remember where we were as we started this season here in 2016, as we already established who the top American women are here. And thank you to the whole world for tuning in. It's been great having you join us here for our C1 day of racing, and we're not done. We've got our elite men coming up next, but we're going to sign off and take a short break here from Waterloo, Wisconsin. We'll be back with our elite men.
A little worse for the wear out there. Abby Watson coming through.
For the ultimate in speed and efficiency, hardtails are great. They're lightweight and efficient. However, there's a downside. They can beat you up. Hardtails transfer harsh trail input straight to your body. On a rugged trail, you'll fatigue quicker and be slower over the course of a race. What if there was a better hardtail? A hardtail that delivered efficiency but spared the rider from harsh trail input. Even better, what if it was a proven technology? IsoSpeed is the answer. Trek's IsoSpeed is a decoupler that allows the seat tube to provide vertical compliance without robbing any lateral stiffness. It's proved itself on the Trek Domani at Cobble-Laden Classics and Boone on cyclocross courses. So how does IsoSpeed work? The IsoSpeed decoupler allows the seat tube to flex to smooth out harsh trail input without affecting lateral stiffness or pedaling efficiency. In short, you get more comfort and control without sacrificing anything. So what does that look like while riding? Trek compared the Pro Caliber SL with IsoSpeed to Trek's existing Superfly SL, which was the previous best in compliance and stiffness. Then, we also looked at a standard carbon hardtail. Watching from afar may not look like a lot is happening. That's why we did a full analysis to help show what's really happening underneath the rider. During a controlled test section, you can see the saddle constantly deflecting. When the average of all 3 bikes are overlaid, Pro Caliber's ISO speed delivered 30% more compliance than the previous best-in-class Superfly SL. Compared to the standard carbon hardtail, Pro Caliber delivered 71% more compliance without any sacrifice in lateral stiffness. That is a revolutionary change in hardtails. All the efficiency of a hardtail without the punishing, speed-stealing harshness, so you can ride harder through rugged terrain and still finish strong. It truly is a revolution in hardtails.
Than the World Cup and World Championship, so obviously I want to be selfish and start on the front row, but it's amazing for U.S. Cross to be on the second row today.
You're going to try throw it in there?
Welcome back to everyone joining us on the World Wide Web. Wherever you are, we're glad to have you. And I certainly hope you had a chance to see our women's race. Was that dynamic and fun to watch or what? So congratulations there to, well, I mean, when you look at it, Katie Compton winning day one, that was extremely impressive. But Katie Antoneau coming back to win day two, our C1 day here, after weathering the storm out there from Caroline Mani and then that attack from Compton. They had their mechanical issues, and ultimately Antoneau finds the top step. I know it's just out in the crowd walking around, really good energy. There's actually just a buzz out here on the Trek campus right now. And had a quick chance to stop and talk to John Burke, who's feeling, I would think, pretty good about where Trek is at right now. So, you know, one of the reasons we're feeling so good about things here today at the Trek headquarters is we've got the reigning world champion with us. Let's go ahead and take a quick word with the world champion, Wout van Aert.
Wout, how are you feeling? You just finished your warm-up. Are you ready for this?
I hope it's pretty warm, so going to be tough conditions for this race, I guess. Yeah.
You rested yesterday. Was that strategical? I mean, is it something that you think was the best decision?
I hope so, but for me it's more to keep myself fresh for the upcoming World Cups, which are very important, of course. But I know myself, when I'm racing, I always want to win, and that's why I only raced today, and I've given everything today. And yeah, I hope for a good race. Yeah.
With the exception of a couple of the Belgians, almost everybody's here. All the big names are here, right? Is this amazing, or is this amazing?
Sure, this is really amazing. I think it's unique for a U.S. race, which is not the World Cup, and yeah, I think it's very good to be here, and let's try to make a big show.
All right, we'll let you get ready. Thank you very much, Wout. Good luck.
The reigning world champion at your event, and he makes a very good point, and it's not a World Cup. There are 2 World Cups coming up, but having Wout here has been incredible. He's really gone above and beyond, too, to spend time with the crowd and be very, very enjoyable. Now, Wout rides for the Krelan Vastgoed Credit team, and that Vastgoed Service, excuse me, team, and that team is directed by Niels Albert. The last time we saw a world champion race in the United States was the Cincinnati lead-up event out at King's Cross that leads into the World Championships in 2013 in Louisville, that pivotal time that we talked about with Sven Nys. So Niels Albert is in attendance, Sven van Eternot is in attendance, and as well as Sven Nys has been here. And we'll talk with Sven throughout the rest of our broadcast as Tim will have a chance to check in with the man who's really now gone from being one of the best in the sport as a rider to on a pilgrimage to help spread the good world gospel of cyclocross around the globe. So, you know, another rider that's going to be fun to watch today, he's out of Vermont, but now living in Park City, Utah. It's Raleigh Clement rider Jamie Driscoll. Let's grab a word with Jamie.
Jamie, I just saw you pushing some really hard watts here. I could see them. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, you know. I think all the people that really want to do well today took yesterday off, and I know me doing the same. So hopefully the legs are good, and good luck out there, and, you know, I ride smooth.
This is an all-star field, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, normally, you know, I've never been second row in the U.S. other than the World Cup and World Championships, so obviously I want to be selfish and start on the front row, but it's amazing for U.S. Cross to be on the second row today.
You going to try throw it in there from the first lap?
Optimistically, yes, but I might just try to play it smart. We'll see what happens.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. And you could see Stephen Hyde warming up there, his teammate Katie Antoneau getting the win earlier. Stephen Hyde, another one of the great stories in American cyclocross right now. He, as well as our reigning national champion, Jeremy Powers, not taking the start yesterday. And we can end that discussion as far as why. Clearly, with the World Cups coming up in Vegas and Iowa, the riders didn't want to do it C2 before they did a C1. I mean, that's going to be 3 significant races between today's C1, which I'm counting as significant, into the 2 World Cups. A C2 was just going to be too much for some of these stars if they wanted to be very competitive throughout this block of racing. So it makes all the sense in the world. We certainly are just happy to have this field that we've got racing today on our C1 event. This is the edge of the course. If you've never been to Waterloo, it's really hard to accurately paint the picture. I mean, this is Americana. It's a beautiful part of the country. A lot of rivers running through here. We mentioned that Madison, a big American university town. I think at this point, University of Wisconsin is a perennial top 10 best school in the United States. Depends on what metrics you're looking at, but it's really fair to give them that credit in Madison. And then Milwaukee, which is a major American city, the kind of team that, or city that has a Major League Baseball team and football team, is just a little bit away. So here's a guy that we really do give credit to bringing cyclocross at this level to Trek and the state of Wisconsin. And he's a multi-time national champion and really the salt of the earth when it comes to cyclocross here at Trek. Let's throw it down to Tim. He's got Matt Shriver with him.
Very much salt of the earth kind of guy. Matt, you're kind of the instigator of the whole cross mania at Trek. Can you talk us how that came about?
Yeah, when I first started at Trek, we were looking at developing a new bike, and we didn't have a large presence in cyclocross. And my background, I'm really passionate for cyclocross, and it was just really good timing. We had some good riders and some good product, and then a lot of enthusiasm in the building, and so it just grown from there every year.
Now you live in the heartland of cyclocross in Belgium right now because you're on a mission with Trek Segafredo. How do you get to train over there? Because I know you have a lot of work with the road team.
Yeah, luckily the road team allows me to throw my bike on the truck. And so when I am with the team, I can sneak out for an hour and just try to maintain. But yeah, it's just a lot of discipline. Try to eat healthy, ride early in the morning, get as much sleep as I can. But work comes first, so riding is second.
What's your ambition in this all-star field?
Well, I'm not racing with the elites today, but my field is pretty stacked too in the Masters 35 plus Open. So the Masters champion's in there today, so I'll just try and follow him and stay with him. We always have a good battle, so if I could be on the podium here at Trek, I'm happy. So.
That's good. We'll be looking out for you, Matt. Good luck.
Thanks, Tim.
Leave it to Matt Shriver to sell himself short. Matt has competed at the pro level. The Shriver Surge was a patented technique that we saw in this sport. So as we take a look at Matt, clearly enjoying the vibe and what's going on here at the Trek campus today. I want to send a shout out to Anthony Dixon. Anthony involved in a really tough crash out in Seattle. He's passionate for cyclocross as well as I know thousands of people in America are, but nice to know Anthony's out there watching in his hospital. Well, it's not nice to know you're in a hospital room, that's for sure, but at least I'm glad we have this coverage for you. And as someone who loves this sport, it's nice to know that we're getting it out there. People have been asking about who's doing this great work out there. And Acme Branding are the people you want to talk to if you want to bring your cyclocross race to this level. And that's something that Trek has been more than happy to open source. We talked about the program they have, trying to help the teams come over and move their bikes and equipment from race to race and helping underwrite these costs because that's something that's in their wheelhouse. And obviously they're not shy to tell you who's helping them with this broadcast as well, because Acme Branding is someone that you clearly want. If you have a cyclocross race, these are the images that I'm sure you'd love the world to see from your fantastic venue. So this venue is in Waterloo. Riders right now just in the pre-staging. We're looking at, well, they should probably, if we did focus back down there when next time we talk to Tim, I'm sure he'll be at some of the riders that are starting to gather down in the grid. So for those that are watching, part of the issue here is how much teaching do we really need to do? Because I know if you're joining us, so many of you are hardcore fans that recognize riders before I do, and I understand that you guys know what you're talking about. And the last thing in this world that we need is an American trying to teach Belgian people how cyclocross works, and I understand that. But I do want to show you how American cyclocross works. We have amateur racing going on all day around our racing. Over in Europe, it really is mostly, it's a pro event. It's not like you watch Little League players out on a Major League field before you have the Major League game. You have just the Major League game, and that's really the way they handle the sport in Europe. The junior races and development races are separate, held in separate venues at separate times. In the United States, as we're growing this sport, we really integrate professional with the amateur racing and turn it into a big event. One of the extremely exciting riders to have with us, this is another one of the big Belgian stars that is joining us. He right now is ranked number 20 in the world for the Telnet Fidea team. Tim is down with Dutchman Corne van Kessel. Tim, exciting to have Corne here with us.
Hey, Corne. How are you doing? Yesterday, brilliant race. You ended up fourth, but you were playing it out there, rivaling with Chanel. How you feel today?
Yeah, we'll see it in the race how I feel, but I rest good and we make a hard race again. Have to go to.
Oh, you have to go. All right, go for it. They get stand on the first line, Dave. That's fun.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, Tim, as well. As Coronade comes into this race, we can start talking about that front line. Obviously, a lot of conversation about Wout van Aert, the number 1 ranked rider in the world and the world champion. Wout was a winner 4 times at the B post level last year. 3 super prestige, a World Cup win. That was in Vegas, where he's going to be heading back to defend this year in 16. You can see him right in the middle of your screen there in that white World Champions jersey. You can't beat that for the Krelan Vastgoed service team. This is an honor to have him with us. Now, Tom Hewson, ranked number 6 in the world, but wearing bib number 2 for the Telnet Fadea team. He's racing on a Trek bicycle here. Another huge star out of Belgium, and he's second spot. Now, the American, Jeremy Powers, 3-time national, including reigning national champion. Powers, there you can see him now. If we're racing for the Aspire team on that Focus bike with the Rafa gear. Next to him is his colleague, former teammate, protege, Stephen Hyde. One of the great stories for Cannondale in the sport of cycling in America right now. No question. Also there, you can see Tim Melier. He's the other Krelan Vastgoed service rider. Now, he's the same team as Wout van Aert. So we also have Hermans on the front row. Quentin Hermans there for the Telnet Fadea team. Not really going to be able to see the guys. It's a good problem to have when the media is at this level here. So a lot of people now filling into the grid in our professional men's race. We have 63 starters here today. Since there are so many of the Americans, this is a great opportunity. Lance Hayden. I love seeing Lance for the Raleigh Clement team out here. Yannick Ekman is back. Drew Dillman, Danny Summerhill with a drop chain out of the grid yesterday, ends up fighting back to 17th. And then let's highlight, I also like seeing Alan Krugoff out here, but Tobin Ortenblad, the donkey label rider out of Santa Cruz, California, was amazing yesterday. He goes in that front group and is able to hold on for a top 10. It was quite a ride from Tobin. We'll see what he can do today. That's going to be Mewson. They're talking with the world champion, Wout van Aert. They've all been staying together in a hotel in Watertown. And it's been a nice experience. They've been able to, had a chance to talk with Sven Ness on the drive over to the venue this morning and talk about the way the guys have really enjoyed the culture here in Wisconsin. They're not itching back to get home to Belgium. They've been really having nice training rides here, making trainings, as they say. And the guys certainly have made the most of this really week that they've been spending now here in Wisconsin. Tomorrow morning they'll be jetting off to Las Vegas. But I think for everyone it's been a successful week. See Max Ackerman making his way up there for the Gateway Harley-Davidson team. He's another young American with a great attitude in the sport. So good luck out there today, Max, with the Gateway Harley-Davidson team. So this is our front row that we're looking at now. Quentin Hermans is the man they're giving the thumbs up. Wearing rider number 4 is Toon Aerts of Telnet Fadea. He's one of the Belgians. It's a real mix of Dutch and Belgian riders on that Telnet Fadea team. And it's no secret that Lars van der Haar is going to be moving on to that squad as the calendar year approaches here. They're excited to be adding him in. Obviously, Mathieu van der Poel is another rider that when you're talking about the highest level that you should be talking about, but the Dutchman coming back from a knee injury, as is van der Haar, actually. Americans love their dogs and their sheep. Maybe not together quite like that. Certainly the environment that American cyclocross race is much more laid back, much more family type. And that, once again, speaks to all of the junior riders that we've had out here today and the master riders. And some of the Cat 2s and 3s that'll be racing later on the same course as our pro men today. So looks like they're locked and loaded down in that grill now. The grid, excuse me. The grill, on the other hand, is fired up over in the expo area. But everyone will make their way over to the barricades here. The mechanics now will head from the grid over to the SRAM pit to get ready. It's actually a really short walk. Not on course, it's about a 4-minute ride, but when you're walking, you can get over there in about a minute. So all of the riders have been prepared. We're ready for a big hour of racing. There's your American champion right in the middle of the screen, and there's your world champion, Wout van Aert. A big moment for American racing here when you talk about a non-World Cup, someday this event in the future, you have to see a World Cup coming here. But right now, we do have the reigning world champion, and they've been given their 1 minute to start. So a little different here. There's no countdown clock. They'll be starting on the whistle, and that whistle is randomized by just the official does that in their own mind, but they'll give their final warnings there. Looks like Danny Summerhill positioned all the way over on the side, already racing. I love the attitude that you see from the Maxxis Shimano man there. So Summerhill's going to be champing at the bit to have a better start today. Yesterday he had to just work through the field throughout the day. Today he's going to try to make his way up into that front group. He was able to do that last week. The start has happened. We're underway, and you can see what a quality world champion is all about as Wout van Aert explodes off the line. But it looks like Quinten Hermans is going to get up there and take the whole shot. So that is going to be Quinten Hermans who's going to lead them out onto course here on the Trek campus. We are racing. Start the clock. Zero the odometer as we are underway. So the world champion sitting second wheel. That's Wout van Aert. He's going to be in a Telnet, a combine happening as we saw yesterday. So didn't even mention yesterday's winner, when we'll certainly be talking about him today as well. That's Steve Chanel, the Frenchman. As let's see where. Okay, well, we can start sorting out things on the front. Hermans, Van Aert. Obviously, that's going to be Toon Aerts up there. Tomusen is making it. Toon Aerts is rider number 4. I'm going to work with a lot of numbers for you right now. As you can see, rider number 8 is Connie van Kessel. So Connie van Kessel, the Dutchman on that team. Obviously, the world champion is going to be incredibly easy to recognize throughout the day. But they're going to make a big run at it here on lap number 1 as well. We'll be watching for the American powers, the American Hyde, and obviously Ortenblad after his ride yesterday to see what they're going to be able to do. But this is like a rocket ship launching out off of planet Earth right now. So the course is more challenging out here today. They have made some modifications as this one, goes completely strung out at this point in the race. Quinten Hermans, the Belgian for Telnet Fidea, remains on the front as they hit the flyover for the first time. We could see riders actually jumping over the top of the flyover with the speed that they're carrying. It looks like Steve Chanel is about 7th wheel in the group right now. As there he is, yesterday's winner, sitting up inside the top 10 right now. Really watching for that Rafa jersey, the Rafa Focus Aspire team that Jeremy Powers rides for. This is a big moment in the 2016 season here for Powers. Okay, dropping down into the loading dock. That's Ortenblad in the red jersey. Donkey label. He's back. This is massive for Ortenblad right now. He's been known as such a great starter as a 17, 18-year-old. He would go out and take a hot lap in the elite races. I remember back to Louisville, Kentucky, where he did that. But then he would fade back through the group in the American peloton. But this does not seem to be Tobin Ortenblad any longer. That was Jens van der Kinden, another Belgian we did not see yesterday of the Callas team there. He's the rider in red with 15 on his back. Let's see how he goes out here on lap number 1. So as we take a look at the group, still almost all together here. It's been great having Tim van der Hoek with us. He has brought so much out of these interviews. And I'm imagining that he's heading over to the SRAM pit right now. That's certainly one of the places to be. Always recommend that if you do go to a race, it's got to, at some point, go to the grid and watch that procedure and see how they get the race started. And then make your way over to the pit. Stay out of the guy's way. They got a lot of work to do. I think they're pretty clear what they're doing in that pit. A day like today, there's not going to be pressure washers going. Or if there are, pretty minimally, as these bikes, there's really no mud to speak of anywhere near this course right now, as we go back to one of these just great shots that we're picking up at the front of the bike race. That is once again Quinten Hermans. He took the whole shot, has been on the front since then. The rider behind him now on his team is Connie van Kessel, right behind the world champion Wout van Aert. There's Powers coming through, 3 on his back, easy to recognize in the American champion's jersey. So Powers still in contact. No front group has really formed quite yet at this point. This race has certainly not found its rhythm right now as Quinten Hermans is banging away on the front here for Telnet Fidea. He's one of the teams now. They had a chance to visit the factory. Bikes is new for that team this year, and it's already turned into a great relationship. Taking a look at the first 20 riders making their way through right now, as that remains Hermans on the front, then Van Aert, then Van Kessel. The world champion in full flight right now. As he said, he only knows and there's Tobin Otenblad making this group. Kerry Werner, very good yesterday as well in these opening laps here. So hard for the riders starting 3-4 rows back to be able to make this group. Tim Merlier is rider number 7 in the green and orange. That's Krelan Vastgoed Service. That's the same team as the world champion. You can see a change now. It looks like Conor Van Kessel moving up to the front as he goes up and by his teammate who did the early work here on lap number 1. And Telnet Fidea is obviously going to be very, very ambitious today. A tough day for the team yesterday. Just didn't go their way. They went up against a very strong Frenchman in Steve Chanel. And Chanel was able to figure it out in a group that got smaller and smaller, always surrounded by Telnet Fidea. But ultimately he's able to crack the code on what was a huge win for the man who had retired at one point and now is back, and obviously an incredible attitude going for Chanel. He seems genuinely happy to be racing at this level here in the United States. So I have this as Van Kessel. We'll try to confirm that for you, as Van Kessel wearing 8 as his rider number. And you can see the tail end then of the group. This is how strong these men are. And I'm wrong, it's Toon Aerts. I apologize. Aerts is the man that we're looking at now. He came out of that group then that had Van Kessel and Hermans setting the pace here. So Toon Aerts of Telnet Fidea. You can see the gap. That's one of our drone shots that have really brought a lot to our coverage here as they race around the cornfield out on lap number 1. And this is going to complete lap number 1 for our professional men's field here, as you can see that they did not come to mess around today. Telnet Fidea has got Toon Aerts off of the front. The world champion now has the pressure put on him. He looks over and sees the young American, Tobin Otenblad, right next to him in the red jersey. There is yesterday's winner, Steve Chanel, all the way over on the left-hand side of your screen. As we look at Tim Merlier here, he is, if it is 7 on his back, and it is Merlier here, the Belgian teammate of Toon Van Aerts. Very, very close, these two. They hang out together pretty much non-stop when you see them. Very relaxed, hanging out, all the Belgian guys here in Wisconsin, as they soak in the true American culture that we have here. Our solo leader now is, we watch to see what kind of response is going to come. This is going to be another moment in this race where you really make the separation. The difference in this race happens in these points. We're already a lap in. We still haven't really found that rhythm that you look for. No front group has really come together. This is going to be, I believe, Stephen Hyde that we're looking at now. So Hyde is going to be in one of our chase groups here behind the charging Belgians. So Hyde has yesterday's winner, Stephen, with him there. Steve Chanel, second wheel. Ortenblad in that group. And I'm going to guess that is Conor Van Kessel. It is Conor Van Kessel there. So this is a great ride from Stephen Hyde that we're looking at right now. So it's really hard with these green and black jerseys, the difference between Krelan and Cannondale from the aerial shots. You have to look closely there. Krelan has this orange element to their jersey. That would be Merlier that we're talking about when you're looking for the Krelan Vastgoed Service. Let's see now. World champion Bob Van Aert. He's the rider right in the middle of your screen here, going past that course crossing. So this is a great ride from Stephen Hyde. Once again, Hyde not out here yesterday. Chanel, 10, yesterday's winner. Van Kessel, 8. A big part of that final group yesterday. Ortenblad sitting right there in the red jersey. For the American, Hyde, this is a great way to start his, well, Stephen Hyde was racing well last week in Rochester as well. The Belgians just immediately go for the jugular out here, the Dutch as well, not allowing the Americans to hang around in this group. They're not going to wait around for anything as we hit for the second time now this technical descent down into the loading dock. A little bit different, isn't it, than what we might have expected here in some of the early going. Merlier is the rider, the Telnet Fidea rider. Dan Sorte is the Telnet Fidea rider, now 14 that you're looking at. 6 on the back is going to be Quinton Hermans. So it wasn't that Hyde didn't want to race in our C2 yesterday. He had flight issues, actually, and had to fly in yesterday, so was unable to race. And thank you, Tim Johnson, for that information. You can't think of cyclocross in America without thinking of guys like Tim Johnson, that's for sure. So Tim also working with that Cannondale team, and that explains a lot for us. Powers choosing not to start, and that choice wasn't one that Hyde had. And not a good travel day, it sounds like, either, which always takes its toll. Tim Merlier up on the front. And, I think we're seeing Hyde as one of these guys who's really taking his cyclocross. Not that he wasn't taking it seriously a couple of years ago, but what happened last year was obviously a complete dedication to a craft, and that continues now. You're looking at, when you talk about Stephen Hyde, a guy who is fully committed to something, and that's when good things happen for you in this world and in sport. So as we look at the group of the world champion coming through right now, it's going to be a lot of who is that Belgian as we take a look right now at, that's going to be Quinton Hermans with 6 on his back. 4 on his back is Toon Aerts. Yesterday's winner Chanel with 10. 8, that's going to be Corne van Kessel. So taking a look at some of the guys who are making, now the selection is happening right here. So is Tom Musen. Musen, not a great day yesterday. Let's see how much he's going to be able to fight back today, as this just barrage that we witnessed from Telnet Fidea just does not quit. So taking a look here, Quinton Hermans, rider number 6. Rider number 14, that is Dan Solte. Rider number 4 that you can see, Toon Aerts. Rider number 1 is obviously your world champion. Rider number 12 is going to be Jim Ernouts. He was second yesterday in the sprint to the line with Chanel, but this is the Tête de la Course, the front of the bike race on lap number 2 here in Waterloo, Wisconsin. Different day, different race. That's what's great about cyclocross. Maybe they didn't have the day they were looking for yesterday. They're going to certainly be aggressive about this race here today. This is exactly how you do it. Standing up is Quinton Hermans. Telnet Fidea is the team, one of the strongest teams in the world. We talked about this is the team that Amy Dombrowski rode for. This is the team that really has made a big effort to become part of American cyclocross. They've done training camps in the United States. At times they've been for weeks riding in Boulder before the season. Brooke Watts, the man who organizes Cross Vegas, has a strong relationship with all of Belgian cyclocross, but this is one of the relationships that I'm sure that he is valued and has helped bring the sport of American cycling a long way. And we're going to go ahead and throw it down to Tim V. Tim, how's it going down there?
It's going good, Dave. I can smell the barbecue sausages here. But I have Sven Nys with me. Sven, Quinton Hermans, under 23 European champion. He's really going for it, right?
Yeah, Dan had the first attack. It was good. Quinton was yesterday also really strong, so you see now that he's good. Had a good recovery from the day from yesterday. But I think that Wout is going to attack during the last half course. So we'll see. But they're doing really well. I'm really happy with what they're doing right now. They're playing it really good. And we'll see. If we have one rider on the podium, I'm really happy today.
Yeah. You have the numbers. That's the card you play, right? Sending somebody out front and see how the others respond. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true. I think Quinton is doing really well right now. Guys from Wout needs to ride behind him. So we'll see what happens. But I think Wout is the strongest. We're going to see that at the end of the race. But Tom is better than yesterday. He built it up a little bit better, Tom Meeuwse. And I hope he can have a better result. He dropped yesterday and he had a bad feeling, but can also be a jet lag. So we'll see what happens today.
All right. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Tim. Sven Nys. A few words with him every couple laps does a heart good, doesn't it, when you're a cyclocross fan? The world champion, as anticipated, is not going to back down out here today. He made the comment about he really only knows how to race to win. As I think that would apply to Sven as well. I had a really interesting conversation with Sven. You know, a lot of talk about the Belgian names, and Sven Nys is one that is interesting because you don't see it spelled that way when you're over in Europe. The Dutch spelling is Nijs, and asking Sven about that, he said that his father Francois, is well known in the professional circuit. And Francois had told Sven, and this is the reason, is that the NYS was a clerical error that was made back 80 years ago. There's no other families in Belgium with that spelling, and explains why that is such a unique name in a lot of ways. It was a clerical error. And Sven has a nice chuckle about that, but it's also the name that's the most well-known in the sport of cyclocross, and a man who's doing a tremendous amount of work right now to grow the sport, not only in Belgium, but obviously here in the United States. That is a man that is scary when he goes to work. Looking at the world champion, Hyde with him. Stephen Hyde came to race and get on the podium. He didn't care if the world champion was here or who he is lining up with. Stephen Hyde is a natural-born killer. And look at Hyde right now. I mean, this is big. This is a turning point for Stephen Hyde now. The rider with 12 on his arm is Jim Ernolds. Remember to mention Ernolds on the podium yesterday. So there's Jim back on the wheel of Stephen Hyde with the world champion right now. And look at this. When he goes to the whip, these accelerations, right now Stephen Hyde, I'm sure, is learning an awful lot about what the highest end of racing in the world in cyclocross looks like, because that is the man himself, Wout van Aert. So Wout right now from Trailan Vascoud Service, taking with him Stephen Hyde, Jim Ernolds there. The selections are happening out on lap number 3. The heavy hitters are revealing themselves. Quinten Hermans, your race leader right now, through the loading dock, or as we joke, the loathing dock. But that gap looks like it's starting to come down as the world champion has gone to work. So Wout van Aert, there you see him hitting the run-up. As the guys hit this landing pad here before they launch themselves one more time. For all of you that love cyclocross, it's quite a sight, isn't it? And look at the way he's able to accelerate. That is power. That is just great cyclocross racing. And Stephen Hyde, my friend, very, very impressive. There's so many people in American cyclocross that have been watching that career of Stephen Hyde over the last couple of years, seeing the hard work and the dedication paying off for him. Certainly is encouraging for so many of the junior riders out there that look to emulate these pros. And a guy like Stephen Hyde is one that a lot of people, maybe the good way to put it is you can do this without a silver spoon in your mouth as well. Stephen Hyde worked in bike shops. He's originally from Florida, and here he is now racing with the world champion, and that's Wout van Aert that we're looking at. He's actually second place out on course because there is a man, Quinten Hermans, a countryman, Belgian rider, up the road, up the course right now from our leader. There's Hermans. Just methodically making his way through some of the technical parts of this course. You can really break this course into 3 distinctly different sectors out there. As we get a look at our leader on his way through, and then we take a look at the world champion chasing it. Looks like contact is going to be made. I wouldn't be too surprised if contact is made by the time they come through the finish line one more time. Wow, just great racing going on out here. So powerful from Quinten Hermans, but the world champion is relentless. Absolutely relentless out there right now. And Hyde is going toe to toe, blow for blow out here. American cycling has a real hero in Stephen Hyde, world champion, the Arc-en-Ciel. Then we take a look at Ernolds. Then we see Hyde, the only man doing that. Stephen Hyde, the only man doing that up in the front group. And that might get him a half second right there. Maybe not a half second, but I think psychologically that's impressive from Stephen Hyde. Going back, that's a Trek bicycle underneath Telnet Fidea. And this is our current leader, Quinten Hermans. So does Hermans get caught by the time they hit the finish line here? I was anticipating that might be the case, but he's certainly not going off the throttle at all here. You can see how this course pounds you. There's the world champion stalking him right now. We're going to hit a little bit of a reset, but not a full reset, no question in my mind here. As we start moving into phase 2 of the battle in Waterloo, the Trek Cup going on as we welcome the top riders from around the world. You know, obviously we realize that Mathieu van der Poel is not here. We're waiting for the return for both Van der Poel and Lars van der Haar in this sport. But right now, we really are looking at the new vanguard of the top Belgian and Dutch riders racing with us here in the United States. 6 on the back is Hermans. I'll continue to try to help with that. Clearly, when you see like riders like Tess Van Amelgen wearing rider number 11, but he hasn't been part of the conversation today, nor has Tom Musin as much as we might have anticipated. Maybe Musin, coming in, it would be understandable, a little bit undercooked, as it's going to be a long season out here, racing all the way to the first week in February. In America, we're really looking forward to our national championships coming up in Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, in December this year. Our national champion, Jeremy Powers, a little bit further back in this group right now. As we take a look at a changing of the guard right now. So that catch was going to be made just at the finish line now. So there you go, the world champion joining up. As this is going to be Quinten Hermans, Jim Ernouts, and Wout van Aert, as Stephen Hyde looking to make that a party of four. A fun place to watch the racing over here. Group of three. If you really surge, a big effort can bring you back, and it looks like Hyde is trying to do that, and that's going to be fifth out on course right now. That's going to be Steve Chanel right behind Hyde. I think this may be Toon Aerts here. Actually, Conor van Kessel is rider number 8, the Dutchman. That's Conor van Kessel. 8, 5 is Hyde, 10 is Chanel. That is group 2. It really looks like we might sort this into 2 groups right now. 3, then 3, with the world champion Wout van Aert group having 2 Telnet Fidea in it.
Yeah. Steven, warming up. You're spinning easy there.
And that is going to be the case. Rider 6, Quinten Hermans. Rider 12, Jim Ernouts. And Rider 1, ranked number 1 in the world, is Van Aert. And you can see it is going to be Conor van Kessel trying to go from group to group right now. Yesterday's winner, Frenchman Chanel, right behind him. And this would be a great time to go talk with Stu Thorne, the manager of the Cannondale team.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, Stu, things are looking pretty good for Steven, right? He's giving the Euros a run for their money.
Yeah, he's hanging in there. I mean, it's a tough train to follow when you get Wout going by. You get Fidea, they got like 6 guys up there. So
how you
it's
feeling?
It's a tough battle up there.
Looks like he's having a good time. I don't know if we caught that on the camera, but he was the stairs down at the field. He was riding those. That's must be feeling good, right?
Yeah, I mean, he usually is pretty comfortable on his bike, and he's a good bike handler. So if he can make up some time, if it's not going to cost him in the long run, then why not?
Yeah, of course. What do you think? What do you think you should tell him right now? To pace it, sit it out, see what the Euros do, or should he attack?
Yeah, I was telling him earlier just to try and settle in and get on a good wheel and try and just sit in for a little bit, because those guys are just going to keep trying to go to the front. And as I said, there's 5 or 6 Fidea guys up there, and why not try and use them?
Yeah. All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Easier said than done in so many cases. We're actually, as we're talking about Stephen Hyde, we had a chance to check in with him before the race. Let's see what Stephen's mindset was before he went to battle.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling real easy. Yeah.
What are you gonna do here? What's the tactics?
Oh, hang on to some wheels. Yeah, it's second weekend of the racing season, so I feel like I have good form. I'm really excited to test out the legs with these guys and try to pull off a good result. I'm just really excited to race with everyone here.
Yeah. It's a good feel, right?
It is. It's a good feeling. Yeah, it's a good field. It's a good course, and it's going to be a fast race. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Stephen Hyde, our top American, out on course right now as we pick up the action here. Let's take a look at our top 10 as they came through the finish line just about a half a lap ago. Jim Ernouts was on the front, but actually it's a group of 3, as you can see, all collected in that 20:08 and 9 time there with Wout van Aert and Quinten Hermans. The next group, not quite a group, but Conor van Kessel, Stephen Hyde. So, right now Hyde was only 5 seconds behind Ernouts, our leader, as they came through. Steve Chanel sitting 6th. We had Dan Solt is 7th. Tobin Ortenblad back up there. Again, he was 8th yesterday. He's holding on to a top 8 spot. We mentioned that Hyde didn't race yesterday with travel issues, just able to get in there today. So Ortenblad's second American, but another very solid ride, as we're out on lap number 4 right now. The story of this race has certainly been the aggressive Telnet Fidea team. along with the world champion that you're looking at in the center of your screen right there, Wout van Aert. Now, even Sven Nys has had to say right now the level that Wout van Aert is racing at, it doesn't matter how many guys you throw at him. He is so strong. It's not really a numbers game in this sport. Although Telnet Fadea is certainly trying to use that to their advantage, there is an element of that in the sport. As we take a look at Jim Arnouts now on the front here for Telnet Fadea. Right behind the world champion is Quinten Hermans. Behind him is Dutchman, also Telnet Fadea, Connie van Kessel, Steve Chanel, Frenchman, then Hyde, and Hyde is hanging in there. I believe I did see Tess van Omorgen there coming through. Rider 14 on the Telnet Fadea team here. So making our way into the middle point of this race now. Everything really does change from here on in. We've made that selection. Nobody pitting. It was the accidents that were causing the pitting for the women. It wasn't the wear and tear on the bicycles, the drivetrain, not the mud, the dust, anything like that. It was just riders hitting the deck, banging their handlebars, breaking chains out there as well. And no teammates around to wait for now, certainly for world champion, the Crelan Vascut service. Does have another very strong rider here. It's not just the world champion from that team, as Tim Merlier is ranked in the top 20, actually 19th in world UCI rankings right now. This is starting to weld back together right now, and that's the man who just weathered attack after attack yesterday, Chanel, on our screen, the Frenchman in the black and red. Hyde right behind him for Cannondale in the green, and it looks like they're going to get it back up to 6. You know, always great to be able to check in with Tim down on the course. Tim, what's happening down there now?
You mentioned Tim Merlier. I was just going to come in here and say that Tim Merlier rolled off a tubular at some point in the race, so he had to come in and do a bike change, which means that he was a little bit further back, but it looks like he's making his way back up gently. But yeah, he had a little mechanical issue, so that's why he's a little bit back. But hopefully he can help the world champion around and as well as a teammate.
Great information. Thank you, Tim. So rolled tubular there for Tim. Well, that explains a lot, and it's one of the challenges, obviously, of coming over to North America, is you don't have your service course to rely upon. As we take a look now, that certainly looks like Ton Aert to me on the front. World champion number 1. Back there, Steve Chanel. And then this Quinten Hermans and company with Stephen Hyde. This is the group as they hit the parking lot area. If you're watching the women's race, I mentioned this is the Trek employee parking lot that you're looking at. And that talks to the scope of what Trek is doing in worldwide bicycles right now. Really incredible. And I always want to thank Trek for their support of World Bicycle Relief. We send them through with the world champion on the front. That's the Tête de la Course, Steve Chanel. Half of the Telnet Fadea team. More than half of the Telnet Fadea team. But certainly that's going to be Quinten Hermans, Connie van Kessel, and Jimmy Arnouts.
Just behind that group, Kerry Warner.
World champion riding, everyone else running. Well, not everyone else, because that's going to be Quinten Hermans, number 6, also riding there. But, this should have alarm bells ringing here, because the world champion is gone. All right, the chicken has just flown the coop. Who's going to be able to do something about it out here? Look at this crowd, getting to watch the world champion put on a command performance here in Waterloo. He hasn't quite flown the coop because he's chasing a man who has. Apologize for that here, as this one's going to be all over the place. Telnet Fadea will not back down, attacking with rider after rider. This was the MO, the modus operandi yesterday. So Connie van Kessel trying to get up onto the wheel of the world champion because he can see that it is really hotting up out here right now. But it is Telnet Fadea, the surge, just another huge wattage dump that you're looking at from the world champion here. So powerful, so graceful. The application of this power is what separates him from so many other riders in the world. Is you could just see how he, like a lion on that bike, and chasing a lion, actually. Telnet Fadea attacking right now. 3 Grand Super Prestige wins, 4 at the B Post, a World Cup win in Vegas at Cross Vegas, the World Championship win in Zolder. That's one of the strongest seasons that we've seen. certainly Mathieu van der Poel's always going to be a part of this conversation as well. When you talk about currently the best in the world, the world champion, Wout van Aert, who we were just watching there, close down that gap, only 22 years old right now. The new guard arrived actually a couple of years ago. This isn't a new story that we're talking about in the world of cyclocross, and he shut this one down now. It's actually, to the guy's credit, still in this group after everything that we've been through here. This is quite amazing. It's only a few seconds back. There's the American Hyde doing a nice job there of riding his way up onto that run up, a clean execution there. And this is where the difference is made. These are the moments when the world champion goes up to the front now, and that is the tête de la course, fittingly the world champion that we're looking at here. So, hearing now that Powers crashed on lap 1, we've got our Tim down on course, and that would be a great question to ask him. What has happened with Jeremy Powers? Is a lot of people will be asking, seeing Stephen Hyde having a great ride today. I know that they're working hard on that right now, so we are aware that we're going to try to get you the location of Powers. We have our crack staff working on that. Here's the problem. The world champion flying the rainbow jersey around Waterloo right now. Hey, and great. As you asked, thank you, Tim. I know you're hard at work down there, but a lot of people are wondering, where is Powers? Can you help us?
Powers is a bit down. He's coming into the pits right now. No, that's not him. But he came through the first time in the pits with already, he's got these nice black Rafa shorts, but there was some dirt on it. So it looks like he fell on his right side, maybe in the off-camber by the building already. I'm not sure, but he did a bike change. So that's why he was almost a minute back, I think, right away. And he's fighting his way back. But the race is out front with the world champion, I think.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that information. And, absolutely, when they're racing full gas like this, something like that, you just can't come back when the world champion is slaying as he is right now. That's what a bike racer looks like, ladies and gentlemen. World champion Wout van Aert on the front right now. He has Niels Albert here working with him. Niels is the director of Krelan Vastgoedkredit and was world champion multiple times in his career. A very celebrated rider as well. We mentioned along with Sven Nys, that was like the Ollie Fraser battles that went back during the 70s when prize fighting was king in America. Well, these two represented the same thing really for cyclocross, two of the biggest names. And now we've got the same thing happening again with Mathieu van der Poel and the man that you're looking at now. And you can even throw Lars van der Haar into that conversation as we look now at the gap starting to be opened up as he surgically now, it looks like he's ready to prepare the second half of this bike race. Are they going to be racing from second from here on in? I don't think that anybody wants to admit that in this group, that's for sure. But a podium spot so coveted, you can't afford to risk anything out here as well. Stephen Hyde running very intelligently here on the wheel of yesterday's winner now, the Frenchman Chanel. Unfortunately, Chanel's going to be letting a little bit of a gap open up here. And you can see, they're flying out there, but yet they're not quite holding the wheel here of what is the Telnet Fidea chase being put together. And I think the entire chasing group is going to be Telnet Fidea. You're looking at these guys that are getting gapped out of that group right now. Look at that. It looks like the Italians in breaking away out there when you look at Telnet Fidea, except for their Dave Stoller is a little bit different. In this case, you're looking at the world champion, Wout van Aert, 22-year-old Belgian, who is right now one of the kings of this sport. That's going to be guys trying to chase back into the Fidea train. As in that group right now, Quinten Hermans is there talking about chase number 1. Jim Ernouts is there. Connie van Kessel is there. And we'll be running down and make sure we get that exactly right for you. But you can see that group coming together. That's chase 1 right behind them. It's just a small gap back, but those small gaps are not as small as one might think when you get to this point in the bike race. Out on lap number 5 here in Waterloo, Wisconsin, racing on the factory grounds. It's actually really farmland around the Trek headquarters here. We get a little deeper into the race. It looks like if there's a guy that can come back, it is Steve Chanel. We sure saw that yesterday, chasing down 5 different attacks throughout the hour of racing. Now, once again, as he brings, it looks like Hyde back up into this group. They fan out across the road. Everybody looks around and realizes the world champion is up the road right now. So Stephen Hyde there in the green, Steve Chanel in the red, and Chanel has brought them back up into this group. So it is the world champion up course. This is chase 1 of 6 with 4 Telnet Fidea riders, Chanel and Hyde. So Hyde, top American, out on course right now. Look at this. Look what's coming up behind them. That's Tobin Ortenblad there for Donkey Label. So, boy, that is the first time we've really got, and it's these, I mean, the camera work is just fantastic out here. But as we're following that first group, you could see, well, Chase 1, I should call them. You could see Chase 2 coming together behind them with not as large of a gap as you might have anticipated this deep into the race, as they have now just started out onto lap number 6. This is all the chase that's come together behind our world champion. We've learned, especially after what we saw in our women's race, that you cannot make a bold prediction like he's not coming back. But certainly, I think an educated cyclocross fan would realize it's going to take a lot to bring back Wout van Aert at this point, where he's at with his talent and motivation. Not racing yesterday. And Wout van Aert doesn't like losing a handshake, let alone losing a bike race. And it looks like he's put himself in position to do exactly that in his trip to America. Wout, not his first trip over the United States. He competed in Louisville at the World Championships, that critical moment on the American cyclocross timeline. There is our world champion now, the most recognizable jersey in cycling. I guess one of two with the maillot. That's Tim Merlier, I think, that we're looking at, who coming back from that rolled tire a little bit earlier. But it sounds like we've got Tim ready to talk down in the pits. Tim, I'll throw it to you.
Thank you, Dave. I've got Niels Albert here with me, the team manager of Wout van Aert. Niels, what more can we say? Is outstanding, right?
Yeah, today it looks incredible. So for our team, is for the moment everything is okay.
What did you instruct him to wait a little bit for the first couple of laps and then see how he feels?
Yeah, we talked about it before the race, and I told him to try to let Tim or Rob get a gap and then close it by himself alone, and then we are with 2 riders. But Tim had a technical issue. His tire came off, so it's a little bit problem now, but okay, it's race.
You really responded to Telenet's play of numbers, basically, by just letting one guy out there and then closing the gap and ciao, right?
Yeah, we want to try that to do before the race, but it's easy talking before the race, and in the race it's still difficult now. The heat is very well, and it's quite warm outside, so I hope it's still 30 minutes now, so I think it will be okay.
Are you going to tell him to maybe go 97, 98% instead of a full 100%?
Yeah, I told him before the race that once he had a gap, he tried to ride easy, because on Wednesday, on Saturday next week there will be World Cup. So today for us is a good race to get in good shape after jet lag and everything. So, but he don't have to go for 100% today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Niels. Good luck.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Multiple-time world champion. Just talking about Niels Albert a little bit earlier. Another one of the Belgians making the trip over to Wisconsin this year. Talking about his rider, and there he is now, Wout van Aert. Karelan was good service. No problem right now for Wout. He came in hyper-motivated to impress today. I think all of that training that they've been doing, it's nice to get to show it off here. And unique to get to show it off in front of an American audience. And thank you to all of us for joining us on our web coverage. We have had a terrific time getting to bring to you the racing. And there's a good look at the good people coming out and enjoying the racing here today. They're getting quite a show from the world champion, aren't they? They Wout van Aert there on the front on his Colnago as we will look back. The action behind him now. It's been interesting to watch, hasn't it, as he goes by the pit. No need to check in with the team here. All right, so this is now we're going to start looking at that gap, and thank you down at the finish line. They've been giving us these wonderful splits to look back behind our leader here. as he's going to eliminate a lot of riders from the race course as they use this 80% rule. And there's going to be guys that won't be able to make it to the finish line today because of the tempo being ridden at the front. I mean, just lighting a rocket early on was Telnet Fadea. And there they are again looking at that chase group. 3 riders now coming together from Telnet Fadea here. Jim Ernutz right in the middle there with 12. 6 is going to be Quentin Ehrmans. And I think Kwame Van Kessel, 8 is the other rider, and it is Kwame Van Kessel here remaining in chase 1 now. So this is chase 1 that we're looking at. Can't ask for much more than that as you look at them just flying here around one of the technical parts of the course. The back third of the course, the final third, as you see them coming into the parking lot, is really the power section. And it sounds like Tim has a man who really helped put this whole thing together. All right, Scott Dobert joining Tim down in the pit. Tim, I'll throw it to you.
Thank you. Hi, Scott. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
This is pretty nice, right? Seeing this on our home grounds here?
It's pretty incredible. It's been a big dream of ours for the last 6 months or so. We've worked really hard on this venue. It's awesome to see cyclocross here at Trek, and really happy.
Yeah. And then seeing the rainbow stripes shining so brightly as they do right now, that must be fantastic for you.
Yeah, to have Wout here and showing his stripes in the Midwest is fantastic, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the cross mania at Trek. How did this come about, and what's the ceiling of this? It seems to be going up and up and up.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the ceiling is, but for sure 5 years ago when we started this race and it was a regional thing, and now we're having a world-class event here. It's come a long ways. Every Wednesday at noon from August until December we have a noon ride, and it's easily 30 people every day, every time we have that ride, and there's a lot of passion here. So yeah.
If you look at this course, what is the most captivating part of the course for you? Is it the technical part? Is that what you were really thriving to see?
I think what we worked really hard on was to have a balance. So there's some power sections, there's some technical sections. The riders, when we were working on their bikes, were kind of troubled by the diversity of the dirt. So it's hard over here and soft over there, and so it was difficult to find the right tire pressure or the right tread pattern. So it's pretty challenging.
Yeah. And then last question, you raced yourself yesterday. Have you raced today already?
No, I raced later on. So I raced yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. How was it for you?
It was really good. It's great to have home court advantage. So I knew where every little nook and cranny was, so that was good.
All right. Well, good luck later on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Scott Dobert has been heavily involved in everything racing at Trek. It's not just cyclocross. It extends to mountain bike and road racing. He has an amazing history and depth of knowledge with the sport. So it looks like the riders at the finish line are going to be hearing and seeing 4 laps of racing remaining. So we're down to the business end here for our elite men. Boy, if you're looking for a fighter in the sport, Steve Chanel would be the man to get behind. You're going to see him, I think, rejoining this group. That's Steve digging in one more time. Steve and Hyde now. Let's look if we're going to be able to see. Yeah, Hyde, unfortunately, now unable to go with these repeated accelerations as Chanel fights back up into chase 1, being led by Telnet Fadea here. Jim Ernutz, Kwame Van Kessel. So the Frenchman trying to join up with this Dutch and Belgian chain, trying to chase down the world champion right now. And as they come through and C4 to go, we'll also have an opportunity to get those splits between our leader back to the chase. So unfortunately, a crash on lap 1 for Jeremy Powers, for those wondering. Tobin Ortenblad, for those hammering away on Twitter, apparently riding for the Santa Cruz Factory Racing team. So that has been put out there for you now. There's our Telnet Fadea chase group coming through. Steve Chanel making contact here. So that group goes from 3 to 4 now. I think the takeaway from this week, certainly he'll have earned a lot of American fans with the way that he has ridden here. That never say die attitude from the Frenchman. There on the top of your screen, you can see the world champion. Get a good look at that gap. This was the area that we saw that mechanical from Caroline Mani happen late in the women's race after Compton attacks, opens up a gap and has a problem. Same thing happens from Mani after she goes And then ultimately Katie Antonow ends up making the most of it and taking the win, second year in a row at the C1 race. But the problem with chasing back into this group is they just keep reaccelerating as well as Quinton Herman's there. Just digging in one more time. You can see as close as he gets, still not quite making contact, or as he makes contact, they accelerate again in this chase group, controlling second, third, and fourth out on course. Fifth would be Chanel, our leader, Wout van Aert in the rainbow jersey up front right now and establishing what is becoming a significant gap out on course here. We make our way into the final quarter of racing, 1 hour for the pro men. Quinton Hermans, who was the first rider to attack, took the whole shot, really animated that first lap before his teammates started taking over. Razak Van Kessel. That looked like Tom Mewson coming through. It was Mewson coming back now into this race, I believe. Mewson wearing rider number 2 will confirm if I had that right. It might have been Jim Arnoud's 12 that we were looking at there as well. Let's see, the next time Chanel comes through, does he have right with him another Telnet Fidea rider? Not right with him, certainly. It is 2. All right, so that is going to be Mewson there coming back. So not the best of days yesterday, but it's good to see him out there redoubling his effort at the point in this race. And we got a long way to go here still as well. So they're going to be coming up on 3 laps of racing, and that right now gives Tom Mewson enough time to get up and join his teammates here. This is the power section that we've been talking about. You see there's still construction going on. There's probably always for the rest of time as Trek grows and grows, more quality construction being done around this venue. But as you make your way through into the parking lot area, you really get a look at that on this course. We've mentioned the video that was out there that really gave you a good look from the rider's perspective. First time I've really seen that at race speed done quite that way by GCN and Villeneuve. Really cool to watch before the racing here to get you a feel for how rough this course is and what the challenges are out there for our riders. That's going to be chase 1 that we're looking at. Completely Telnet Fidea on their Trek bicycles here. Wout van Aert, world champion, up course right now. That's the man that they're chasing. Might be chasing vapor or a ghost at this point. There's not too many people in the know coming into this race. The Belgian contingent was well aware today that Wout van Aert was going to be a force to be reckoned with, to say the very least. And for Telnet Fidea, this is far from disappointing, the situation that they're in there. Actually, even maybe a little bit better off than what we saw last year. Oh, well, this is a special guest, no question. Man who really put this whole thing together in the biggest sense of all. Great to have you down there with John Burke. Tim, I'll throw it to you.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, I have John right here next to me. He's at the top of the run-up or right-up, as depending how strong you are. John, this is quite a party, right?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, just seeing what these people can do out here, I mean, it's amazing. Yeah.
Tell me about the importance of cross for Trek. Can you even underestimate it?
You know, we love to ride bikes here, and we like to make great bikes. And whether it's road racing, whether it's mountain biking or cross, we just love to be involved in the sport. And I think this event here at Trek, it's just awesome. For the employees, it's great. For the competitors, I think this race over time is going to be really amazing.
You would like it to be a World Cup ahead of Vegas and Iowa. And with the world champion showing his stripes here, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, he is amazing. And I'll tell you, I just get inspired being here. I've already had a few conversations with people. I think we can take a great event and make it even better.
I like that. All right, John. Thank you very much. Enjoy this event.
Thanks for having me. All right.
Back to you, Dave.
All right. Thank you, Tim. So it's going to get hectic out here, no doubt about it. We're kind of looking back through the chase now, and some sore backs at this point. I think we're seeing some of the Telnet Fidea riders coming out of that group. Yeah, that's going to be Conor Van Kessel, that he looks like he'll be challenged and passed by Steve Chanel here. So this is kind of what's the remnants of the chase right now. The world champion, Wout van Aert, has been flying on that Colnago out here today as he, with the Crelan Vastgoed Service Vastgoed Service team, has been very, very, I don't know why I keep adding credit to that. But now you're looking at Chanel here. They're getting down to it. A really, really tough course to race full gas for the entire hour out here. All right, we're going back and taking a look at a replay that occurred there. I think we caught just a tail end of that shot there a little bit earlier, but seeing, I think that was Corne van Kessel there coming off that just a few minutes ago, and that was the pass. You can see actually that's the rider that we were looking at there that is now getting back up onto the wheel of Chanel. So as we look at riders now, going back through the group here, and that really obviously is going to be one of the challenges for us is we have the world champion off of the front. We're looking at the remnants of the chase, trying to look back through the top 10 for people who want to see that and focus on the world champion for people who want to see that. Right now you're kind of looking at the middle ground here as we go back to what remains of the chase of our leader. Hyde coming back. That's nice to see. So Stephen Hyde, once again, this will go down. He might not quite get on the podium here today. We'll see. But he certainly has shown he's podium worthy. There's the world champion now, adding to his gap and significantly adding. That's going to be another 10 seconds since the last time we saw him through that sector of the course, that crosswalk there. You're going to see now exactly what it looks like. This is going to be our solo chaser coming through. Believe this to be Quentin Hermans here. And that's one of our aerial shots showing you a good look. You can see up in the top of the screen, that's where the finish area is and our expo taking place. Right now, inching up on 80 degrees, very comfortable day, light breeze. Ideal racing conditions. I guess ideal depends on where you're coming from in the sport as well. Fully understand that. Obviously, the challenges of cyclocross are brought on often case by conditions out there as well. Mud. You can only imagine what this course would be like on a muddy day out here, but we didn't get that this year. You never know. I mean, this time of year in Wisconsin, it's entirely possible. All right, so going back now, taking a look through the top 10, as the chase continues. There's no question. I mean, these guys, it's a C1 level. And there we go. There's the world champion, and pretty recognizable, isn't he? Not going into the pit one more time. Niels Albert there to give him a thumbs up as he rolls by. His things are well in hand right now for Wout van Aert. Nice spray job on that bike as well. Very, very classy look that Van Aert has. Not a compact rider. Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, very different than Lars van der Haar when you look at the body type. It's one of the great things about cyclocross. There's no one body type that is going to be dominant in this sport. It comes down to heart and ability and certainly work ethic. And the 22-year-old race leaders, you can see him racing off into the distance right now, certainly got all of those things working for him at a very, very high level. The scissor lifts are the kind of things that make the difference when you're trying to give this kind of coverage, as is our fantastic drone operator. This guy's amazing. And, yeah, the techniques are being advanced at a quick rate out there right now, and our ability to get shots like this, love it. That's the world champion, Wout van Aert, Crelan Vastgoed Service. There's your pit. That orange guy fencing there, always nice to see Clark Sheehan's company at races that you go to, as it is to have one to go doing the timing and scoring for you. This man makes it easy when it comes to timing and scoring, doesn't he? Wearing the World Champions jersey with number 1 on his back. Pretty recognizable, I would say, in this sport. So they make their way by the little neighborhood there that is on the edge of the Trek campus. So 2 laps of racing remaining here. 53 minutes in, so they're going to go well over the hour out here today, which I don't think anybody, well, the guys certainly, have a lot to look forward to with Cross Vegas coming up on Wednesday and then making their way back to this part of the country, Iowa, for another big weekend of racing, World Cup racing coming up 2 times in the next week. All right, so certainly not giving back anything. Right now he's taking more and more and more as we look at the world champion of cyclocross. He was a U23 champion in his career as well. But last season was when he really lit it up out there. So with inside 2 laps of racing remaining, Jim Aert is the Belgian rider chasing his countryman, world champion. Aert second yesterday. Let's see if he'll repeat that feat like Ellen Noble. Ellen Noble and Fuego out here finishing second on 2 days to 2 different winners. One day Compton, the other day Katie Antonow. But it was the only issue that you think about now when you look at the world champion is knowing that his teammate did roll a tire earlier in the day. That obviously one of the technical battles with the tires being glued onto these carbon fiber rims on a rough course like this when you're off camber, that kind of thing can happen. Obviously less than ideal, but this is one of the things that we've talked about over the years. The Americans have talked about just how tough it is to go for extended periods of time over to Europe, how you don't have your service course, your mechanic is readily available, everything's tougher for your mechanic or the people working with the team. The challenges are at a high level, and the same thing goes for the Europeans coming over here. And in no way is there any ill will to that. It's just a reality that when you're racing off of your home continent, you're going to find challenges. The mechanical issues are a little bit more challenging. Food can be more challenging as well, although it's been nice to hear the way the Belgians and Dutch riders that have been over here have really integrated into enjoying the culture that they've been a part of. And Wout, at 22 years old, has been a big part of that. He's a real leader for this group, and you see that as the guys are making their way around the venue or hanging out back at the hotel, that obviously Wout has a lot of clout with these guys. If Wout orders one kind of beer, all the other guys have the same thing. And that, having Wout being on board with this American cyclocross movement is just as important, I think, as having Sven Nys involved with this American cyclocross movement. We really need the sponsors and the athletes and the directors to be all on the same page. And that's what's really happening right now here at Trek. It's been really impressive to watch how people are coming together to support American cross. But you come out of that descent hot. It's real hard to realign your bike here as we go back now to the chase inside of 2 laps to go. It's not going to be all that long until about, and there he is. You can see again he's adding time out here. He's adding time with less and less chasers, even close to being in striking distance now. So Wout, we just saw him exiting off of our screen to the left as we look at the top 3 chasers making their way down into the shady grove here. So Telnet Fadea leading up the chase, but it's one by one by one out there here today. Corne Van Kessel had that bit of a high-speed get-off a bit earlier there. He was able to recover from that, but that was really when things started to unravel out on course here. I don't know if we have 2 riders together in the top 10 at this point now. We'll get a good look out there here late in the race for our men. So much like Compton yesterday in the women's race, a solo attack midpoint of the race, a little bit earlier from Katie yesterday, but so strong and just really no question that you're looking at an athlete that should be able to make it to the line. I would have thought the same thing about Compton today, thought the same thing about Caroline Mani today, and they both crashed or had a mechanical issue. They didn't both crash, actually. It was Mani that crashed, and a drivetrain problem for Compton. But Compton ended up holding on to top 5. Money stayed in the top 5 as well. But that's based on their physical strength and ability and where they were in the race when it happened. But right now, it just doesn't look like, and the technical skills for, and if you go back and look through the last few years of some of the videos that are online of the riding skills that both Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Haar, Lars van der Haar and Mathieu van der Poel all have shown. I wouldn't expect to see any kind of issue like that for our world champion right now. So as we're late in the race, these are the podium spots that we're fighting for. Jim Aert is rider 12. We did note that his teammate Tom Hewson was coming back quite a bit here late in the second half, so having a strong second half of the race out there. But they're rapidly coming up on getting the bell here, the last lap of racing here for our men. Now, you wonder with Tobin Ortenblad, who was so good yesterday, finishing 8th, top American. Today, Stephen Hyde leading that charge for the Americans out here against this world-class field. I think we might have both of those guys still up in the top 10 here, and that'll be a challenge, and we'll certainly try to let you know as much as we can about what's happening with our 2 Americans here as well today. The story, though, certainly goes beyond America when you have the world champion from Belgium riding on the front the way he is. Second yesterday, second on course today, Jim Aert. Yeah, the world champion is almost in a different zip code out there right now when you look at the advantage that he has created for himself. And then it's just Telnet Fidea man flying across your screen. As we're going to be following Jim Aert. It looks like Quentin Herman sitting 3rd out on course right now. Very, very active in the early going. So Hermans has his teammate Jim Aert just up course from him, in between himself and our current leader, world champion Wout van Aert. This is going to be our leader. There you go. The Tête de la Corsa, the front of the bike race, as he makes his way down to the finale of this race, systematically dismantling this course out here today in Trek's backyard. You get a feel for how the crowd has just spread out all over this venue to enjoy the racing today. And that bell's going to be ringing shortly now as it's ringing for everybody out there at the finish line right now. You see the different lines that the pros take out here. A little stretch of the back right now. Starts to weigh on you. A heavy course to race on. Or maybe not a heavy course, a pounding course to race on would be a better way to put it for those who haven't had a chance to race the Trek Cup. Although certainly would invite you to come and join next year, as this event is certainly going to be around with all of the efforts that Trek is making and already talking about how can we make this better for next year. You see our kids course right in the middle. That was actively used throughout the weekend. So amateur racing taking place for all of our different categories. Because of the way we've changed the schedule here, we'll have racing coming up in the afternoon after our World Cup, feels like a World Cup, doesn't it? But after our C1 race here today, we look at our leader, world champion, making his way over that flyover for the final time now. Looks down, everything okay with the bike. The machine doing well, the man doing well. As here's our loading dock. And he's made quite a few trips down this now, as we'll see the world champion here in just a moment. So as we take a look at the Arc-en-Ciel, and you can see Wout's taking it nice and easy right now. No reason to take any risks here. He'll still keep the engine running hard. And giving an attempt to ride it out there, and you got to really line that one up perfectly, no question. You get the feeling he has the power, that's for sure. Although they've been out there now for over an hour of racing, out on the last lap here as we pick up the Last few minutes of racing on what has been an absolutely incredible weekend. Is big thank you to Trek Bicycle for such a valiant effort. Not just the course, not just supporting local and regional riders, world-class riders as well, whether it's World Tour racers or people like just yourself out there racing with your local club. The dedication to cyclocross and the dedication, as John Burke said, they just love bikes here. And they love the way the bikes can help improve the world. And they're doing a very good job of that through things like the World Bicycle Relief Effort. Trek was one of the original heavy hitters that got on board and made a difference with that. And really like to give them credit for not only being there, but sustaining their involvement through the years. You can always find out more about that at worldbicyclerelief.org. But thank you to Trek for believing in the power of the bicycle, without a doubt. Right now you're looking at a man who knows how to power a bicycle, that being Wout van Aert. Out on his last lap, the gap is enough that he really does have enough time to back off a little bit. We've talked about how important it's going to be heading for these guys to Las Vegas here. They're flying out tomorrow morning to make their way over to Vegas. So they'll have a couple of days in Nevada before they race on Wednesday night there at the Cliff Bar Cross Vegas event. Always a great time and something to look forward to. And then they'll be the next morning, Thursday morning, getting back on another flight to hightail their way back to Iowa for Jingle Cross. So there has been a lot of bees out on course. That's been one of the things. This must be the time of year that the bees are really, really active out there. But the man doing the stinging today is right there. That's Wout van Aert. And at this point now, you start to wonder what's happening back there behind. We saw Jim Ehrnoots and then Quinten Hermans sitting second and third right now. I'm not anticipating that's going to change here either. I think we really locked this one down at this point. And this is the run to the finish right now for the world champion. What an honor it has been to have Wout racing with us. And he'll have time to catch his breath and clean up before the second place rider comes across the line, it looks like, on a day like today. Last time by the pits for most of our riders occurring. That two-sided pit that we have here become the standard. It's a good look at the Wisconsin countryside, the Trek factory. Nicely perched amongst it here. In the past, it was almost unimaginable that you would have the world champion racing in an event that wasn't of the World Cup or World Championship status. You look back to the World Championships in Louisville, Kentucky as being a significant moment on that timeline. Sven Ness has talked about it. Now you look at the fact that we have two different World Cups going on. Brooke Watts and Jim Meehan, just amazing to see what these guys are doing. And then ultimately now Trek stepping in and making another significant step forward for the sport here in America. The world champion of cyclocross, the 22-year-old Wout van Aert, riding for the Kreland Vastgoed Service team under the direction of Niels Albert, former world champion as well, in attendance here, working in the pit today. And this one looks like he's ready to drive that final nail home. This one is about to be done and dusted. As he hits the parking lot now for the final time. What a moment for American cycling. Nice to see that flag there with the Lion of Flanders. This is a moment. Wout van Aert wins here at the C1 day of the Trek Cup, the reigning world champion. Now, that is just nice to see for all the good folks here at Trek who've worked so hard. You know, they're going to have their bikes on the podium, but even more importantly, they're growing the sport of cyclocross. Jim Ehrnoots coming through for the silver medal. And this will be the final step on the podium as Telnet Fadea will take second and third today as Quinten Hermans rounds out our top three. This looks like Stephen Hyde, so close and so strong out there today. Stephen Hyde coming across in fifth, but congratulations, top American out there for the Cannondale team. That is a big day for Stephen Hyde. All that hard work really starting to pay off. There's Steve Chanel, yesterday's winner, the Frenchman, coming across the line as well. But what a ride for Stephen Hyde out here today. So as we bring the world champion across the line, now filling in our top 10, this was a big day for American racing, no question. Congratulations to Katie Antoneau and Wout van Aert for rides that we certainly won't forget anytime soon. So Tim right now will be down there trying to get a word with our champion. You'll also, if we take a look at this venue, you'll see people making their way over for the awards presentation, the cheese curds, the Collectivo coffee, Lakefront beer, all great supporters of this event. Actually, you can see Collectivo there in their orange vehicle. There's the world champion right now cleaning up. It's nice. Stephen Hyde getting a chance to congratulate the world champion. I think he earned some respect today. Stephen Hyde isn't lacking in the respect department. That's for sure. There's Conor van Kessel there. You can see he's already got the helmet off. Nice orange Fanta there for the champion. It looks like that is Tim right there. You can see getting his equipment ready for us. There's the world champion. And let's go ahead and throw it down. Tim, it's got to be great having the world champion with you. Nice win today for Wout van Aert. I'll throw it to you.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, very, very nice win here. Wout, how do you feel? Congratulations.
Of course, I feel tired. There are very tough conditions today. I was suffering the heat very much in the last laps, and it was a pretty long solo ride. So in the final, I felt the force of the beginning.
Very smart racing too. You had Quinten Hermans in front of you, and then you jumped to him, and then from there on, you were kind of on your own, right? Am I seeing this right?
Yeah, I was. I knew before the race, in the beginning, it will get difficult with the big Dylan Fidea Lions team on the start. So I tried to give one an advantage, so it was more easy for me to set my own pace. I think it was a good decision, and from when I was alone, I can ride my own pace, and that was fast enough to stay in front.
Is this a confirmation of the sensations you had last week already, and the whole summer maybe?
Yeah, to be honest, yes. I feel the whole summer already very good, and also last week I did a very good first race in Belgium. And today I was not confident of the feeling because of the big trip we did this week, and I'm happy after the race I can be confident for the next races. And it was a great crowd also, crossing the finish line with such an enthusiasm crowd is very good, and I think it's a great example of racing in America.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck in Vegas and Iowa. Good luck. Back to you.
Wout will be heading to Vegas as defending champion and carrying a lot of confidence with him there. Certainly would like to thank Wout for making the big effort for coming and joining us here in Wisconsin as well, as we are seeing a seismic shift in what cyclocross is about on planet Earth right now. That's Jim Arnouts, you can see making his way down. And I think we're going to have a chance to grab a word with him, it looks like, as well. We'll hold off for just a moment. All right, it sounds like we will. Tim, you've got Jim Arnouts with you there. He rode really, really well today.
Yes, I have Jim with me. Congratulations. Really good job. How did you feel all along?
Yeah, I feel pretty good today. Yeah, Wout was the best. I think it was a game for him. I felt it. He was really strong, so I concentrate on the second place. And yeah, we came with three riders with Cornet and Quinten behind Wout. And yeah, I felt strong, so I thought with 2 laps to go, I take the attack. And I was alone, so but for me it feels like a victory, second behind Wout.
Tell me a little bit about the sensation here on the course. There's a lot of people. Everybody's very enthusiastic about the race. How was it for you?
Yeah, the crowd is great here. They support for any rider from the first till the last. And yeah, it's a bit like in Belgium. It's the same. The course is the same. So yeah, I like it.
Okay. Well, congratulations and good luck in Vegas and Iowa.
Thank you.
Well, I think Jim is right. A second to the world champion has to feel like a win on a day like today, and certainly a better day for the Telnet Fidea team as well. Look, a young American there, Lance Hayden, There's a lot of experience being garnered. If you want to get better in cyclocross, you have to race against the best in the world, and that's exactly what we had here. As you look at the guys now waiting for that podium presentation that will wrap up the UCI portion of racing. There's Alan Krugoff of the Boulder Cycle Sport team. We'll have to look a little bit deeper through results to see how all the Americans sorted out on a day like today. See Tobin Ortenblad doing an interview with Sean Brett. Sean is out working with USA Cycling. He's going to be at all the cyclocross races out here this year. Reminding everyone, as you tweet about cross at this level, certainly use that hashtag. As looks like Stephen Hyde as well. All right, sounds like we're going to go down and grab a word with the final man on our podium. Tim, I'll throw it to you.
Now we're about 15 minutes away from the start of your race. 15 minutes away.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. After yesterday, it was a hard race today, and yeah, I also had a lot of back pain yesterday, and it was kind of soft today, but in the end, it was just, yeah, man-to-man. Like, it was just a man-to-man fight, and it was really hard, but a really nice race over here.
You guys as a team, you didn't want to wait for a Wout van Aert show, so you anticipated. You were out there for a while. Did you think he was coming soon, or what did you expect when you were out there on your own?
Yeah, it was kind of team tactics. Like, Wout is really strong, and we have to, counter him, and we tried with Dan and me to have a couple of attacks, but yeah, Wout was just too strong, like Steve did yesterday, Wout did today, and yeah, it was just too strong for us.
How is this for the first chapter in the U.S. here on this campaign before you go to Vegas, Iowa? Good feelings as a team, I imagine?
Yeah, really good. We got two guys on a podium today again, and yeah, that's really, we've been well met Trek the past week, and yeah, it's really fun to be here, and the atmosphere is really nice, so yeah, really fun here.
Let you go to the podium. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Quinton.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. Tim checking in with all three guys on the podium here, that presentation going on. Big thank you to Renee Callaway as well. Renee, really, as the USGP went away, Renee stepped up and found a partner in Trek and found this venue, and the rest is history as far as that goes. This course continues to be worked on and refined as they continue to show their belief through elbow grease out there. That's a big part of what makes Trek successful, not shying away from these projects that show a lot of ambition. And a good example of that is the flyover you're looking at right now. A few years ago that didn't exist. They built it right. They built it permanently. And there's only a handful of cyclocross parks in the United States that have a permanent flyover. It sounds like we're going to get a chance to grab a word with. This is really exciting. Glad to hear they've got Stephen Hyde. Tim, we'll throw it down to you. Stephen, had quite a ride today.
Yep, Stephen is right here with me. Stephen, amazing ride. How did it feel for you?
Thank you. It felt fantastic. It was the ride I wanted. I knew it was I had the potential to do it, and I put in a little extra training for it, so I was really happy.
It looked like you had a lot of fun out there. Also, riding the stairs, you were the only one to do that, I think. How did that feel?
Oh, was I really the only one? It was great. It was really smooth. It was, fast, saved me a little energy. I don't know if it wasn't any faster, but there was a big cheering section over there, so that was really fun.
It's all important, right? How does it feel ahead of Vegas and Iowa for you?
It feels good. I feel like I'm on the right track. Fitness, my head's on the right spot, and this is pretty validating. I wanted that. So I'm really happy, and I hope that I can continue that momentum.
Well, we hope so, too. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for coming and being here.
You're welcome. Bye.
Well, and I think that really speaks to what Trek is all about. It's not just about Trek bicycles as far as growing the sport of cyclocross. It's about growing the entire thing. And if that means a rider on a Cannondale is here, that's just fine with Trek. I think I'll speak for them because we want the highest level of racing possible. And certainly that's what we witnessed here today. And a big thank you to everyone at Trek for making this possible. So for Tim, my name is Dave Toll. I want to thank you for joining us and really look forward to seeing how the rest of this year progresses. We've got a lot to look forward to coming up in Las Vegas and then Iowa as we make our way through what's going to be a U.S. cycling season to remember. The game is changing right in front of our eyes, and if it weren't for companies like Trek, I don't think we'd be able to move it along as quickly as we are right now. So for my colleague Tim, my name is Dave Toll. That's the world champion, Wout van Aert. Congratulations, Wout, and Katie Antonow. We'll see you next year.